the sound check in 1 sec.
Okay.
Sorry, I had a little. Let's see. Remelia, I hardly know her.
Yeah. Remilia, I hardly know her.
All right, let's see. Test. Sound check.
Testy test.
I'm not getting any sound yet.
Hello.
Hello.
Let's see. Oh, hold on. Let me change my audio. So, I find it so weird and
Wow.
annoying that the
Wow, our audio technician is really on top of their game
Okay,
this week, folks.
I can hear you guys. All right. Well, suck my dick. All right. It sounds good to me. Yeah, dog sounds good. Everyone sounds approximately correct volume to me.
Are we live now?
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah,
we are live.
Oh. Hey.
After
I figured there's no way that we would have gone live before
sound check.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, after the last 2 weeks of Lolid forgetting to hit start stream and us spending 15 minutes thinking the stream had started.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Dogstar. I'm everyone's favorite mother-based host. Hello.
I'm Ichiban Misato, everyone's least favorite mother-based host.
Yeah, I'm Lolid Snake, everybody's secret favorite, except you have to open a VPN after your wife has gone to sleep to look at pictures of me, so you can't admit that I'm your favorite.
I noticed something a little bit disturbing, which is that you can't see the video feed of Ace Combat in the screen right now.
Oh, yeah, I was probably touching my girlfriend or fiance's titties while when you sent me. Oh wait, actually no, you just never sent me the media stream link so that I could embed that in the stream. So that's why that's not there.
Oh, well, you know what? Let me go take a look at that and figure out. Let me just come up with an excuse for why this is your fault while I do that.
Well, I do have I still have an active Misato media stream from back when your Avi was able to move, and it looks like it is set to.
Don't say the URL.
Yeah, don't.
Definitely don't.
Yeah, that's actually true to not say the URL.
And let me just.
Looks like it's set to stormfront.com /forums.
/internal.
Yeah.
That's out of date.
Wow.
We got a new one that we got hosted because we needed to switch hosts because the Cloudflare guys were starting to breathe down our necks.
Yeah.
So you're actually gonna have to tunnel through Tor to get to the new one where we are well and truly allowed to be as racist as we want to be online.
Yeah, that is it is gonna be funny when we're going to have so many episodes banned on YouTube that we are just gonna have to start streaming to BitChute or something like that, and people are gonna have to run a VPN to watch mother based.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta do the stupid thing where I figure out how to force quit the OBS process in order to change my setting.
Wow. Well, what's going on in the news today?
Were there any shootings today?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it was just the one in Uvalde and the one in Buffalo last week. But I mean, boy, the discourse around the Uvalde shooting has been very funny. I feel like this hasn't actually been very widely reported, but there in most reports of the Uvalde shooting, they seem to have made it seem like eventually a police officer went in and shot the shooter in the head at point blank range or something. But even
probably right in front of a child.
Yeah, but that was like literally, but that even like that was not actually true. The person who delivered the kill shot to the shooter was actually an off-duty like a customs officer, whose kid went to the school. He literally borrowed a gun from the barber that he was getting a haircut from, and basically did like a die hard to get into the school, and then shot the guy at point blank range.
So based.
Yeah.
I do really like.
But yeah, he was literally a Latino border patrol officer,
Wow.
who like killed the Uvalde shooter.
It's funny. I mean, it's like I was just really thinking about like the Mark Wahlberg quote about United 93, where he was like, would have been a lot different. Things would have gone down a lot different if I was on that plane. Like when I think about the parents who were like stuck outside, except it actually would have been true if you'd literally just like let 20 parents, like this guy, I mean, like it's a little bit fucked up to say, but he didn't even kill 20 like elementary schoolers with like multiple weapons. Like this guy was a soft target.
Yeah,
like,
he also did
20.
Well, he was literally
20 full adults could have ripped him like limb from limb, and they would have if they were like the parents. So
I mean, he was literally a soft target because he also didn't have any like ceramic plating in his like flak jacket. Like he was just wearing like the vest without any wow. plates in it. Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't. I actually did not go that into this this particular shooting.
Oh yeah. No, he literally like bought like a bulletproof vest, but I guess like didn't know that you need to buy like ceramic plates to like put into like the pockets on it to like actually make it.
I forgot to tell him that.
Yeah. But yeah, so he like literally like you could have just like walked up to him and just shot him in the center of the chest with like a shotgun, and he would have been dropped.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's Well, I think it's more important now than ever to support our first responders.
Yeah.
Is sort of the thing I've been thinking a lot about, I guess, more than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, man, did I share like the meme that was like people are literally like memeing like screenshots of No Russian and saying feds when they see nobody wants to vote blue this midterm.
Yeah. No, I mean it has been has been making me happy seeing how many HoloLive accounts have been posting about FBI involvement in shootings and so forth. It's nice to see the response.
Yeah.
It is really funny that like I don't know, they just literally waited outside for like an hour and a half and like did not even like try to justify their existence in any way. Like
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like I would expect them to like do like like if I were a cop, I would if anything overcompensate, right, and do like the Russian like like siege type thing where I like end up deploying like some kind of CS gas that ends up killing more like elementary schoolers just so I can like explode his face as quickly as possible.
Yeah, or like what was that one in I can't remember if it was Chechnya or Georgia, but there's that one thing where like I think it was Chechen separatists like like
with the auditorium.
Yeah, well they like took like an elementary school like hostage for like I think like about a week. And like basically just like had like it was like on like family day, so all of the kids like parents were there, so they had like several hundred hostages, and basically after like 7 days of this like siege, like one of the tanks that like the Russian military had called in to just sort of like hang out outside of this like schoolhouse just accidentally shot like a shell into the gymnasium and just like set off this just sort of like this like literal powder keg where it's like one of those like scenes from like Full Metal Jacket or something like that where like one thing happens and literally everybody just starts shooting in like random directions. But at the end of the day, I believe most, if not all, of these school children were killed.
Wow.
Reading about it, that was so jarring. How like some kid was like screaming at the cops to like get in there, and her screaming alerted the shooter to go and shoot her in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the call logs, there were literally like 10 calls in a row, like over the course of the hour, like during which children were being killed, of like 911 calls from inside there of kids just begging the cops to like literally do anything. It is really like, I don't know. I mean, it's like I think the fundamental like lack of, there's like an empathy gap here where people aren't understanding that like cops are like given those guns to shoot unarmed people, and that the thing with armed people is they're really scary and they also have guns.
Yeah.
And that might put the cops like at risk, which I don't know. I mean, like that's scary. And I think people should think twice before judging someone for not doing something scary.
Yeah, every police department in America needs to be allotted one PTK'd serial killer that they just keep in like a cage, like uncovered out back of like the police precinct.
One Jared Leto Joker impersonator.
Yeah, that they only release. Everybody gets like one Stephen Paddock that you just like literally keep in a dog cage. Until there's like an active shooter situation at like a grocery store or a school. Okay,
yeah,
so yeah,
you have your Ichi the killer, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, what I was talking about was the Beslan school siege. Let's look at these numbers, folks. Hey, America, hey Americans, you're taking the side of like Ukraine, like in this like stupid gay proxy war that makes us not have like fucking like formula for babies and gas costs $5 for no reason. Let's take a look at a real ass school shooting. Let's look at this. Deaths 333, excluding 31 terrorists. Let's start to pump those numbers a little bit.
They're not fucking around.
Yeah.
Wait, this is the like Russian one?
Yeah, Beslan.
Beslan, wow.
The crisis began when a group of armed Chechen terrorists occupied school number 1 in the town of Beslan, North Ossetia, an autonomous republic in the North Caucasus region of Russia. So that's for our listeners, that is where Joker Tsarnaev is from originally. So a lot going on in that region. On 1 September 2004, the hostage takers were members of Riyad Us Salihin, so they were Chechen Muslims sent by warlord Shamil Basayev, who demanded Russian withdrawal from and recognition of the independence of Chechnya. Clearly, they've been doing Russia and Chechnya have been doing a lot of linking and building lately, since Chechnyan troops are sort of the vanguard of the invading force in Ukraine.
Well, okay, like, and I think Russia has been doing an identity politics where they're like counting on all of us to like be like, oh, I must just be racist for thinking all Chechens look the same. But I do think they have one Chechen dude, because they do all look the same, who like just shows up in like multiple photos, and they're like, here is General like blah blah blah, and here's General blue blue blue, and like it's literally just the same dude.
Yeah.
And they just give him like a different gun each time and like slightly different kit.
I do highly recommend reading through this Wikipedia. The whole kind of everything about this is just like fucking horrifying and insane. They had like everybody packed into this like one gym that was wired with explosives attached to the basketball hoop. There's like a fucking one of the separatist soldiers just standing on a dead man switch that if he steps off it would just like blow everybody up. I want to find and see I'm gonna read through this and see if I can find like the exact thing that like caused everything to sort of just like go balls to the wall haywire, because I feel like it was literally like some guy like accidentally let like one shot off on accident, and then like the whole school basically just exploded.
Didn't they fire like some kind of like anti-tank round through like the wall or something? I feel like I remember that vaguely.
So I left in the middle of this to go pee because I was spending too much of my prep time working on stuff. But whatever this is, I still don't understand what it is, but it looks like Ukraine just the maniacs just made that movie Battle Royale happen in real life. Like, I'm imagining exactly one child survived.
I guess it's like Battle Royale happening in real life if Battle Royale happened like in the space of like 30 seconds. Let me read through this.
And if Battle Royale was like like not the kids killing each other, but everyone just killing the kids. Right?
Yeah. Let me read through this real quick. Around 1300, 1 p.m. for USA tards. On 3rd September, the militants allowed 4 Ministry of Emergency Situations medical workers in 2 ambulances to remove 20 bodies from the school grounds, as well as to bring the corpse of the killed terrorist into the school. However, at 13:03, when the paramedics approached the school, an explosion was heard from the gymnasium. The terrorists then opened fire on them, killing 2. The other 2 took cover behind their vehicle. The second strange-sounding explosion was heard 22 seconds later. At 13:05, a fire started on the roof of the sports hall, and soon the burning rafters and roofing fell onto the hostages below, many of whom were injured but still alive. Eventually, the entire roof collapsed, turning the entire room into an inferno. The flames reportedly killed some 160 people. There are several conflicting opinions regarding the source and nature of the explosion. Let's skip that. Storming by Russian forces. Part of the sports hall was demolished by the explosions, allowing some hostages to escape. Local militia opened fire, and the military returned fire. A number of people were killed in the crossfire. Russian officials say that militants shot hostages as they ran, and that military fired back. The government asserts that once the shooting started, troops had no choice but to storm the building. However, some accounts of the town's residents have contradicted the official version of events. So yeah, it basically just like a bunch of people died when the building collapsed on where all of the hostages were being taken, and then apparently local militia and the military basically just fish in a barreled everybody as they fled from the building.
Based. Can you change? So I just sent the stream I'm streaming to. Can you change Motoko to Ichiban? And then you should be able to get my stream. So Top Gun came out this weekend. Top Gun, incredible movie. Top Gun Maverick came out.
Top Gun Maverick, right?
This is also a special. This is also a Top Gun special. I actually did not. I'm too broke to buy the Top Gun DLC, so I will just be playing.
Wow.
I thought it was free, but it's not, and so I will just be playing Ace Combat 7 in honor of Top Gun. I will be flying an Su-34, which is one of the Russian airplanes that has been used. It's an Su-27 derivative. In the Ukraine war, in honor of the brave Russian and Ukrainian troops.
Okay, I have the stream like set up. It's ready to go whenever you are, Misato. You want to take a look at the stream and let me know if it looks all right?
I'm streaming. Can you see it?
Yep, I can see it. Check Discord.
Yeah.
How's
that
look?
Make it. Put it wherever you want. This is just a picture-in-picture experience, baby. All right, thank you. That's it. I will just be playing this while we talk. That's it.
I'll make it a little bit bigger.
This is just my tribute to Top. Thank you for putting it over my face. This is my tribute to Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise.
To Top Cruise, because we aren't legally allowed to call him Bottom Cruise.
Hey-o.
Hey. Tom Cruise, who is maybe the most like suicidal jihadist, but like for Hollywood, like ever. Like he one thing I really appreciate about Top Gun Maverick is that not only did he do all his own suicidal stunts, but he forced literally every one of the supporting cast.
Yeah, a bunch of like 30-year-olds to also like almost kill themselves.
Yeah, he forced them all to like go through like jet fighter school and like vomit like 100 times while like pulling 10 Gs in like F-18s. And shot all the scenes in actual F-18s, which I really appreciate.
Yeah.
Another it is actually maybe the most autistic movie I've ever seen, because the adversary, spoiler alert, but not really that much of a spoiler, the adversary is Iran. But the only reason the adversary is Iran is because
they never actually say who so I actually saw I didn't hear them. I assumed that it was North. I also saw it yesterday, and I assumed that it was North Korea, but I was fully just going off of like the terrain when they actually do the mission at the end.
So they say it. Wait, did you see the whole movie?
Yeah, no, I took like a bunch of smoke breaks. I went into the bathroom and jerked a stranger off. No, I didn't see the whole movie, despite the fact that I spent $20.
Dragon kind of experience
despite the fact, so when is the one time that they say Iran? Because I thought that, from my recollection, it's that they literally just say the enemy the entire time.
They say that actually, right when they introduce it, they say the enemy, and they say Iran once. But I'll tell you, maybe I did insert the information because Iran is the only other Air Force that like still has F-14s.
I think you're headcanoning this.
So one of the funniest things to me about Top Gun is that the F-14 that Tom Cruise flies, all of the top F-14 aces are actually Iranian, because we sold them F-14s right before the revolution. and they basically like developed all the avionics and like weapon systems that they needed because we refused to keep selling them stuff. And then they took that into Wars of the Rock, and like all the best F-14 pilots are Iranian, which is really funny. And so they literally made the enemy Iran just so that an F-14 could actually figure into the plot in like 2022.
But
and
does
that is a level of autism which is amazing. It's like so next level. I really appreciated that.
But does Iran have like any like regions that have like snow-capped mountains and shit like that though?
Yeah.
I bet it does. Yeah, I mean,
it does definitely.
Yeah, I'm not a Iran geography expert, but they do
pretty biodiverse. There's a lot of biomes in that fucker.
Right, exactly.
I think a lot of people, when they think of Iran, they think a lot about like the general propaganda that they've been given about like Afghanistan and Iraq, and just kind of imagine Iran as being like a giant desert or something.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I always just assumed that it was more like temperate for the most part.
Watch some Kiara's motherfucker.
I have actually.
Watch some of Kiara's tummy. I'm talking about the VTuber. I'm talking Hollow Live. Dojin specifically. Kiara's tummy. Anyway.
All right, I'm looking at an article from the paper of repute, Los Angeles Times. Apparently, I have to buy 6 months of it for $1.
No. Hey, go to the website. The number 12, like numeral 1, numeral 2, the letter F, the letter T.io.
Okay.
And then that's a good site for just getting around to any given paywall.
All right. So do I just do it from here, like X?
Like 12. Sorry. Or if you just go to that homepage, it'll tell you how to get it done.
Fuck it, whatever.
Yeah, if you do 12foot and then slash the URL, 12foot.io. While this is happening, Misato, can you send me the URL for the YouTube chat?
Oh yeah.
Wait, so it's xiift.io slash that? Did I do that wrong?
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
12 you said 12-foot Roman numeral, which would be X.
No. Here, I'm gonna just put it in interrogation room.
Okay.
Sorry, I just like that, like 12foot.io.
Oh, okay. You said something about Roman numerals.
No, I meant to say like numeral 1, numeral 2. I didn't mean Roman numerals. I'm sorry. Just trying to figure out how to convey that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I just posted
nice,
the chat link.
Sick. All right. All right, so we're going to just do Control F, Iran.
Okay, there we go. Chat is working. Cool. Getting my act together. Doing a stream.
Oh yeah, we are.
Looks like this article is non-committal about where it actually takes place, so it's you know.
All right, maybe I just hallucinated that because I know too much.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe you like filled that detail in just from your like retarded knowledge of like aircraft. Because I was waiting for them to drop like anything that was like, you know, geopolitically specific, and I swear to God it didn't come up at all.
They literally, I will say, like even if I like Mandela affected the Iran.
I mean, I think you're right.
Definitely, no. The only thing that made it clear it was Iran was that they had F-14s.
Yeah,
that was the only thing.
Okay.
And that's only like the deepest like autist like level reference.
Yeah, no, I fully believe you that it was actually it was like that you're right and that it was like Iran. I didn't realize that like they had like fucking Colorado type mountains in Iran, because I just assumed that everywhere in the Middle East just sort of has like a yellow color filter over the entire thing. And no matter where you are, you can just hear like vocalists going like, like while you're just like driving around wherever the hell you are.
Like Call to Prayer mixed with Lion King.
Yeah,
is what that sounded like to me. Yeah, but mixed also with like some kind of like nondescript Mexican like mariachi band, since just like as spillover for that like specific yellow tinted filter.
Yeah. So Dogstar, are we ready to go?
Sure. Hold on. The stream looks like it's paused on your side.
No, it's
Paused.
it's moving on oh wait, do I just need to like
in Discord?
Oh, my bad.
Just so I can make sure I'm, putting everything in its right place.
Should be good, I think.
It still says, Misato, can you check that with me right now?
Oh, whether the stream is rolling?
Yeah. On
YouTube?
the Discord.
I'll just stop and start it back again. I think I navigated to another Discord channel, so maybe that like fucked it up or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't see any streams on Discord right now.
Yeah.
I mean, OBS is looking good, but it's, for whatever reason, it's like not. There we go. I think it's because I minimized OBS or something like that.
Yeah. All right. So you can see my opening slide here. Hi. I'm Dogstar. I am a middle schooler. I am a 14-year-old girl. And today I want to give a report on what exactly this whole Milady Remelia thing is. Have you either of you? Well, actually, okay. I'm the only one on this stream that still lives in New York. And
that's true. This is a North Carolina stream.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
And
wow.
What?
Oh, my computer was just really frozen for a sec.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'm going to be adjusting some of the stuff here. So, if you're like me, you might kind of be this like massive weird hermit. I don't do things like go into Williamsburg, for example, very often. And I get into this mindset that's just like, I wonder if hipsters still exist. Like your good old fashioned like early 2010s like hype machine, vice do's and don'ts like hipster. And the answer is they do, and they are hilariously still in Williamsburg.
Wow.
When you go and you walk around Williamsburg, it's actually pretty hyper real these days, because I was hanging around there due to some sort of obligations, and it's a place where, even in the neighborhood I live in right now, which is comparatively ungentrified, there are like wheat pasted posters around advertising like tertiary Bored Ape like things I can buy on OpenSea, like NFTs. And then in Williamsburg proper, then there is just graffiti of these Bored Apes and of like the penguins, I forget what they're called. And then to add insult to injury, usually around these graffitied on the sidewalk in front of them will be Ryder Rips graffiti. Ryder Rips, famous.
Friend of Misato's.
Friend of Misato's, friend of the show.
That's right, friend of the show.
Once famous for vaguely doing some sort of web art like a million years ago. Ran dump.fm. If you're as old as I am, you might remember that.
Did he claim to like invent like, I don't know, like social media or something recently?
Who knows? Maybe, probably. But he more recently, I feel like if anyone knows who he is these days, it's because he did like a call out of Bored Apes, right? Like attempted a cancellation of Bored Apes in their entirety, and it was very weird, because it almost started legitimate, just like talking about how like NFTs are kind of dumb, but then it felt kind of like reading a newsletter your aunt would forward you about how the fact that they're apes
Is
is
racist or
an
something.
yeah, exactly, like it's a harkening back to the days of um physiognomy. I forget what the art of like reading faces was called.
Oh, if it's skull shapes, it's damn, I used to do that. It's like those little busts that
Phrenology.
yeah,
That's just
phrenology. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite things about like mediums and like fortune tellers is that they love to have like phrenology busts like in
yeah.
their windows and shit, because I think that there's like some kind of misunderstanding in like the American new wave or new age scene that like makes them think that it's some kind of like mystic or like uh I guess like the overlap is that it is literally like a quasi science, except that it's like race based instead of like spiritually based. But they kind of conflate the two subconsciously for some reason.
Right.
Um. Yeah. So in the context of this, I was around there in some events recently where Bored Ape is the way of the past, right? Like I think everyone in the world, except for a relatively small number of
Gen Xers.
yeah, think Bored Apes are stupid. Um, and did you see the Seth Green thing?
That's what I'm
Actually,
thinking of specifically. Yeah,
yeah.
as sort of like
It was,
a prototypical kind of like Gen X
The Seth
like
Green thing was
guy.
really great.
so to talk about this for a second. All right, to get sidetracked, I think the Seth Green thing is unbelievably funny on like a lot of different levels, right? Like that he made this show in the first place that looks like the worst show in the world that stars his NFTs is funny enough. And then him getting that Bored Ape stolen from him in a phishing scam,
Also
So
very
cool.
funny.
also very funny. But then the follow-up thing that he is trying to establish some sort of legal precedent that that ape being stolen from him, like that this was in fact a stolen object. Um, and he still maintains the rights because it's stolen art. And he can kind of like prosecute under the consideration that this is, stolen art. And so if he does this, kind of regardless of whether or not he succeeds, um, there's this question of like blockchains kind of existing originally to be this extra legal, decentralized, like self-sustaining system, right? Um, and increasingly, that is not the case. Since the time of like the original DAO hack, like back in 2017, where some contract got hacked so badly that the Ethereum central government, like Vitalik and those folks, forked Ethereum as a whole into a version where the hack did not happen.
Oh,
So from that moment, basically, Ethereum kind of no longer had legitimacy. Or it could regain it, certainly. And I do think it made progress to regaining it. Mostly because this occurrence like got memory hold. But
Yeah, seriously?
uh Seth
I mean,
Green doing this is literally just like, oh, this what is on the blockchain doesn't matter because we have like a legal system ruling over this blockchain content. It feels like it utterly destroys the concept of the NFT as something that is trying to be some futuristic notion of ownership.
well, yeah, and also sort of like I guess you got to extrapolate that out into like like cryptocurrency like broadly being something that like is not governed by like governmental agencies, which was like a big part of its initial appeal, right? Was that it was sort of like
Right.
kind of like a libertarian currency.
Right, which makes it funny that God, as the resident like cryptocurrency autist here, like you have things like Ripple, right? XRP, which
Great
is
Grateful Dead song, by the way. Ripple listened to it in the car today. Great song by a bunch of.
Are you a deadhead?
No. Well, not.
Are you fucking? Yeah, are you following the dead around?
No, I would never follow the dead because I am opposed ethically to pederasty.
Do you own any like online ceramic shirts or anything like that?
No, as I just stated, I am opposed to any and all forms of pederasty on moral grounds.
Are you talking about Deadhead like a Maury Calliope fan or
What is that what they're known as?
That's never mind, that's a VTuber.
No, I'm aware. Misato,
Yeah, they're known
I'm
as
aware of Maury Calliope.
Yeah, no, they're known as Deadheads.
Why?
Because she's queen of the underworld.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Calliope. Wow, that's a deep reference for a VTuber.
It's not that deep if you care about VTubing like I do.
Or Greek mythology.
Yeah, Maury Calliope, I think I mainly know from that like clip of her that was done up in a South Park style, where she talks about she's like freaking out Gura and someone else by talking about how much she loves Shota. And
wait,
like
Maury was?
Yes.
Wow.
And small people in general. It's very funny. Seemed like a pretty base thing for her to do. I gained some kinship to that. She's one of those people that on HoloLive that like Amelia and Gura are definitely like trying to sound Japanese in some way. Like they're doing voice training to like appeal in the same way that like high-pitched anime girl voices appeal. Where Maury Calliope is just some fucking girl.
Yeah,
and I kind of respect that.
She's just a Midwesterner, which I appreciate, and like I'm here for like all the like mid women on the internet.
Yeah,
and that's great.
I'm sorry, I have to correct something that you guys said earlier.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, the true HoloLive expert has logged on.
They're called deadbeats, not deadheads.
Oh, deadbeats. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Well, then fuck off. Thanks for.
All right,
making this
Misato, you have to take one turn with the mother-based Russian roulette pistol that we that we have on the table between our between where we record every week. So give that
Russian roulette pistol is special because it's just a regular like Browning M1911, and so you're guaranteed to get there. There is only one round in it, and you're just guaranteed to like get killed by it.
Yeah.
I had to join because it was giving fucking hitting a lick vibes.
It was giving it hitting a devious lick.
Yeah, it was giving devious lick.
Sam Gatto talked about how absolutely traumatizing it was as a Zoomer to hear all of us not knowing what a devious lick was when we were trying to theorize about what it was.
Yeah.
Wait, was I here for that? I don't remember talking about that at all.
That was the Roblox episode because we were playing Devious Lick Simulator, and I had no fucking idea what that was, and it wasn't Gatto that explained it to me. It was some other Zoomer friend of mine was like, "Hey, yeah, there's
please
the
do
Devious
better.
Lick in the Angelic Yield, is the inverse of the Devious Lick. Regardless, I'm gonna explode. I need to say that XRP Ripple is basically something that poses as a cryptocurrency, using all of the same buzzwords, but basically recreates the Fed. Is kind of posturing itself as being like the American, like to be adopted as the American equivalent of like the Chinese state cryptocurrency. Whoa. And there are like Ripple board members that are in the Biden cabinet.
Wow. Oh yeah, based.
So
yeah, it is just generally funny what you guys are talking about with like I feel like people have been like posting that as like the most obvious own of cryptards, like you guys are, or like NFT tards is like, you know, oh man, like someone stole my NFT, I need to get the law involved, after talking endlessly about like how great it is to have this like unregulated thing. And
right,
I mean, it's
like,
just sorry.
Yeah, like full disclosure, I think the fact like that underinformed like liberal type people or like quasi left type people sure do fucking love to be like anytime an NFT gets mentioned the same way that people say sports ball, people say, oh, it's a JPEG that I get to download. And it's like, no, that's completely missing the point, because these things are about ownership, right? It's not about the image, it's about establishing ownership. And you can think that that's stupid, right? Because who gives a fuck about who owns what Bored Ape unless you are literally Seth Green, right?
But that's the funny thing about it, is that if it becomes legally enforceable, then it's no longer, like you said, like untethered from. So like that's like the fundamental inconsistent. I mean, I feel like there's like the like lazy version of like sports ball, whatever, like making fun of it. But I think what's like really depressing about NFTs in general is that there's like the dumbest possible critique of it, which is right click and save.
Yeah.
Is there's nothing smarter you can like say to own it. It's just that dumb.
Yeah.
Like they're literally just like waiting to legitimize it, which will undermine any of the things that are supposedly novel about it.
Dogstar, if you want to minimize your thing real quick, I actually have the intro to the NFT TV show that Seth Meyers or whoever was trying to make. Seth MacFarlane? Which Seth is it?
Seth MacFarlane.
Okay.
No, Seth Green.
Hey, friggin' sweet, Lois. I'm a Bored Ape.
All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to grab coffee while we take this break.
All right, I just need you to close that. Wait, did you do it already? Hold on. Oh, yeah, cool. We're good to go. All right. Yeah, this comes courtesy of Brad Trommel's Instagram. In the defense of this trailer, I did think that it was like the trailer to like a TV show that Brad Trommel was making.
Boy, this is not going the way that I had planned.
Hey, Gary! Yeah, how are you? How you doing? Good. Yeah. What is it for? Getting us a festive. Just and pop. Don't.
I'm just saying, so that's where they part, maybe tonight.
I kind of want that rose.
Don't take the rose, sweet.
I'm taking my break.
What? Oi!
Can I open up to you? Of course.
Don't do that to your friends.
You just put that on somebody who's not being paid.
You're about one G&T away from a screaming match. Now
Thoughts?
Wow, you could call us ladies, but I guess you don't respect us enough.
It's like funny because like I said, I actually thought that that this could also like be like a trailer for like a show that Brad Trommel would be making if it was like you know, more critical and less, I guess, kind of. It feels like it's like could go either way of being like a criticism or sort of like a validation of NFT characters. But it also like it's funny that like it's about like a Bored Ape that is like a bartender in New York, because it also just makes it seem like a different version of like that Louis C.K. show Horace and Pete, where Steve Buscemi is like an NFT instead of a middle-aged man with cancer.
Tim?
Highly recommend Horace and Pete, by the way. Don't let all of the Louis C.K. hate out there get you down. It was basically ghostwritten entirely by a Puffer alum who's done a lot of writing for Louis C.K. that he usually takes solo writing credit on, in exchange for him getting like a lot more money from the back door. It's the guy that created Xavier Renegade Angel.
Vernon Chapman?
Yeah, Vernon Chapman basically wrote Horace and Pete, and also like a handful of other Louis C.K. projects that he that C.K. took solo writing credit on.
Nice.
I'm gonna get back to this. So one thing I want to say is that I do think this we will have time to talk about how I do think Milady does. Oh, Brad Trommel, our sponsor, Brad Trommel. I do think we're going to start getting into how this does more interesting things for NFTs. We're going to talk about one of the more interesting NFT things, but we're going to be talking about Miya. And this person and this specific NFT. And the reason I was talking about Williamsburg is, as you can see from one of these tweets here, Martin Shkreli, wearing a Milady avatar,
Martin
attended
Shkreli, everybody.
Shkreli, owner of that Wu-Tang Clan album. Is wearing a Milady MLT, NFT. They have raves. There's very much an IRL culture of this, especially considering that a couple of weeks ago was like an IRL urban meetup thing around Williamsburg and around Manhattan, that had a lot of culture around this certain stupid moment happening.
Well, I want to offset this bad news with a bit of good news, which is that Russia has developed super high speed nuclear torpedoes capable of delivering 100 megatons into directly into the East River. So hopefully this will be a temporary kind of thing.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
So if you remember that fucking whatever it was article, BuzzFeed or some shit talking about.
There's an article in not the Atlantic, but it's sort of like on the same ship or at the same level. It's got like a 2-word name. I'll get back to you about that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that article that was talking about the movie festival that like Red Scare was at, right?
Yeah.
If you remember that article, we are getting more and more sequels to it. And so at one point there was an article somewhere the fuck else. I forgot to jot down what it was. But it was called like Everything You Wanted to Know About Miladies, but Were Afraid to Ask. And I was looking at this quote here. Maybe I'll fucking move myself down and away from it so I can have more room. Just put my head down like that. So taking a look at this paragraph here, where we're talking about the Thiel bucks that are flowing around, which, as far as I can tell, is not a meme, and genuinely Thiel's money is going to funding quite a few of these entities here.
Yeah.
He funds intellectuals and Mother Base.
Yeah. Autofiction.
I wish he funded Mother Base.
Autofiction, Contain, Wet Brain Podcast.
What is autofiction?
Autofiction, I think someone was talking about it in like the chat the other day. It's basically sort of like a spin-off of alt lit, where you literally just like describe whatever like vapid thing you're doing, and then like write about it.
Of that, actually. Let me switch pages for a second, because we get to hear some we get to see some autofiction here. If you think if you want to hear more about this exciting and very New York new genre.
Some autoerotic as fiction?
Yeah,
That's what all of the people that write it deserve.
Yeah, so let me take a second to just kind of read an excerpt from this post. Just so we can explore this new and emerging genre of literature. Relax, homie. It's chill, I assured him. I know Milady, bro. I know Remelia. I dapped up the homie who was bouncing SPL9, PLC, and slid past the line of impatient influencers right into the function. It was already popping off by the time I got there. Seemed like it was going to be an awesome night, one for the photo books. The type of shit that constantly happens in New York City, but it never gets old. Knightsbridge by Blady was playing on the aux. I had hardly spent few seconds in the building before another one of the Twitter homies, @ProsProducer, recognized me. He dapped me up, one of those ambiguous daps where our hands shifted back and forth between fist bump and handshake several times on their journey towards interception. But that's cool. Vibin'. You're the guy. He excitedly blurted. Maxwell S. Foley, writer and technologist. Pleased to finally make your acquaintance in person, I told him, unbothered by his lapse in memory. You're chill, bro. I fucks with you. Your Substack piece on Miladies was brilliant, he exclaimed. I never knew you could write like that. That shit made all my boys so hype. It was funny as fuck, dude. Thank you so much for saying that, I responded congenially. But trust me, bro, this is just the beginning. Next fiction piece I'm dropping are gonna be absolutely crazy. We talked a bit more about which currencies and NFT projects to buy and sell. You know, Tojiba CEO Corp, a good bet to buy right now. Sell Tubby Cats. Always hodl Miladies, no matter what. Any other alpha I got at the party, come talk to me in person and I'll give it to you if I fuck with you. I complimented him on his pink Milady hat, a design that many at the party were sporting. It had a classic look reminiscent of beloved children's characters like Kirby or Jigglypuff, but with a Web3 twist. So I also included this disclaimer that more recently has appeared on this article. The disclaimer says, this work of fiction is intended as satire and cultural commentary. The author claims no relationship to Milady Maker or Remilia Collective at this point in time.
I've also posted my own, I guess, bit of like information over the graphic right now. So everybody like watching the stream can see it. But if Dogstar, if you want to take a look at it, this is my own contribution to how I felt about what you just read.
Attention FBI handlers, direct all incels and needs within. Yeah. Right. I can say that probably none of these people are femboys.
Oh no, I meant to do. I meant to like.
Yeah, do some mass shootings, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back into this file and bleep this, but it would be really cool if there was an active shooter event at a clandestino.
Yeah. So right. So
that would be tragic.
Yeah, this
Yeah, Ben Mora would die.
It would be it would be tragic if there was a multiple independent reentry vehicle event at Dimes Square.
Yeah. So this intersects with Dimes Square somehow. I thought I knew at one point. Now I have no fucking idea. So, but anyway, just doing a quick look through these names getting dropped in this article. Nick Land, Curtis Yarvin. These two are boomers.
Unfuckable hags.
Yeah, I don't know how many people in this world have read anything Curtis Yarvin has written. Hold on, I put a funny picture of him in here. I think here we go. This is who Curtis Yarvin is, by the way. Here's my quote from Curtis Yarvin, written as Mencius Moldbug in his introduction to Patchwork, which was his fucking, what was that work by Plato where he's talking about the Republic? This is his version of Plato's Republic, is the Patchwork, and he has an aside in it that says, "Isn't this a lovely vision? A Lenin-esque feat of delirious, constructive imagination. A world without leftism? Imagine! It's hard to imagine, only if you have trouble imagining a Nazi John Lennon. A feat which taxes my imagination not at all. But maybe I've been reading too much Hitler. It really is a tough call to say who was more coherent, Lenin or Hitler." And if you weren't looking at the screen, he was talking about John Lennon, not like Lenin. Not Lenin. But so all of these things that are getting mentioned here, Yarvin, I can't imagine having cultural influence in this scene aside from maybe directing Teal Bucks in a few different directions. Nick Land, people will read his older works and be influenced by it, but now he just mostly hangs around Twitter. Yeah, he mostly hangs around Twitter, like being a dad in a really funny way where he'll fuck up some popcorn and call it a black necrosis, heat fucked chaos. And then, yeah, for these people, Catholicism is cool. Quite literally, right? Like, you see these people wearing, like, Holy Trinity bikinis. I can't imagine they take it seriously. especially people like Justin Murphy, who
Anna
doesn't.
Anakachi, the person who is like I think most popularly wearing that in a photo taken by Richard Kern, is also emphatically not a Zoomer and also kind of not a millennial because I think she's in her early 40s, which I think puts her in like late Gen X territory.
That's funny you said Richard Kern because I did get intel that Richard Kern was attending a post-cancellation, post-Milady cancellation, I should say. Milady rave.
Well, yeah, because I was about to say that I'm pretty sure that Richard Kern was quote-unquote like canceled in the late 80s for like raping a couple women or something.
Damn, that fucking sucks. All I know about him is I watched You Killed Me First. I thought that was cool, but him raping women kind of invalidates the whole message of it.
I mean, I'm a big fan of like the cinema of transgression, but I generally kind of veer closer to like Nick Zed or like Beth B's work.
Yeah, Nick Zed is based. Everyone go check out fantastic publisher Random Man Editions, who recently released War is Menstrual Envy by Nick Zed on VHS tape. Yeah, and then Catholicism is cool. Family values are in a LARPing way. Accepting money from Peter Thiel is a kind of aspiration. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Angelicism 01 and Land's collected works, Fanged Nomina, are Urtext, Barrett Avner's Contain Project, Honor Levy's Wet Brain Podcast, and the array of Instagram meme accounts ending in Selectuals are sites of interpretation, which is really...
Misato, we made it.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to have these fucking retards be like referencing stuff we did, and they're just too fucking stupid to like know we had any like what it is. Like they actually have no idea what like the referred to like thing is, and I think it's really funny because it's like I'm not saying it's easy on the internet to keep track of stuff, but I think it does like indicate how like absolutely like fucking feckless these like quote unquote journalists are, where they like don't actually research anything that you can't find on literally Google.
Yeah, I mean,
like, literally, if you can't find it on Google, they don't know what it is.
Yeah, let me pull this up for a second.
Just to like really quickly to respond to that, Misato. That is going to be a recurring theme in interesting ways through this presentation.
Yeah. Dogstar, could you drop your presentation for a second?
Okay, I have dropped it.
Oh, it's taking a while to load. Here we go.
I always have like a delay.
Yeah. We literally have a fucking Know Your Meme page, or I mean, I'm not associated, I guess, anymore, really, because I don't care.
Wow.
But yeah, there's literally like basically like a Wikipedia article for intellectuals that like anybody that works for like the New York Times or fucking Vanity Fair or whatever could like reference if they like were media literate at all, which I guess like most of them aren't.
God, this level is really hard with my like computer trying to stream to OBS because I literally it freezes so often. I like fucking keep crashing into the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should really get a new computer at some point. I haven't started my new job yet, so I don't have the bucks for it, but I will at some point, and then you guys will really see my full power. But
yeah, then, ladies and gentlemen, Misato will finally move again.
But you used to move. Your computer didn't get like worse in the meantime.
No, it didn't. But like when I was capable of moving, things would be so slow when I was trying to watch the stream that it was like legitimately like painful to use. So I just switched back to the like non-moving avatar, or switched to a non-moving avatar.
Why do I
it is amazing. You're right. Intellectual does have enough traction that literally even if you use Google, you will find it.
Yeah.
I think probably I'm not going to call for violence. I will just say that I'm not going to call for violence. And then I'm just going to say also that these people don't deserve their jobs.
Oh, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to issue a fatwa against whatever shitty news writer this is.
Yeah. I'm not going to call for violence, but I will support your fatwa.
But I mean, yeah, there's literally like screen caps and like dates. That time that Elon Musk like retweeted us or whatever. Also, it's very funny that apparently like the most popular Know Your Meme articles right now are the 2022 Texas school shooting, not safe for work. Hey, as long as it works, and the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Nice.
It's funny to me that is a meme.
Well, people also aren't aware that was also due to us.
Yeah,
Base was
did
actually
that.
The country. Yeah.
Yeah, we greased some palms and got that 40 billion sent over.
Yeah.
It was a big heist because we were trying to reimburse Ukraine for that shit that they were helping us and Hunter Biden out with. Like they never did turn over that server, and they helped us sink evidence of frazzle drip.
Yeah.
I just find it amazing that people don't recognize that Russian Federation is an anagram for I love jokes, follow mother based on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like it literally put 2 and 2 together. It's the most obvious thing in the world.
The other funny thing about Top Gun Maverick that I appreciated was that the 2 wars that they mentioned Maverick participating in are campaigns against Bosnia and Iraq.
Okay, so all right, like Top Gun Maverick was not as good as the original Top Gun, but the main reason, and you can say whatever, like, I mean, I personally detest that everything is a sequel these days.
Yeah.
The only exception to that rule is movies with Tom Cruise, because Tom Cruise is elevating his suicidal ideation in the form of insane stunts with every new movie he does so much.
Didn't you already say that?
Wait, what?
Didn't you already say this?
Yeah, but the only like good thing about them is like Tom Cruise movie is what I'm trying to say. And so the only I don't like sequels in general that are like whatever trying to revive old franchises, but the main problem is not actually just that this is a sequel. The main problem is that it's a sequel where you're supposed to root for like American pilots. And it's so funny how hard it is to build any types of stakes for American pilots, where it's like literally like the plot is like, yeah, this other country is starting to develop a nuclear program that's threatening our triple parentheses allies who for some reason aren't launching this mission on their own. It's unclear. And I don't mean that in the broad sense. I mean that in the national sense. But like literally it's like, so we're running a mission for Israel against a country that has not actually developed a weapon yet. And the entire stakes of the movie is we're just trying to guarantee that absolutely none of our guys die while we like bomb someone into oblivion in an artificial, like unprovoked attack. It's like there's no part of it where you can get invested in it. Whereas the original Top Gun was smart because A, it like set it in a training context. So it was all about hanging out with your bros and like doing gay stuff. And like B, when like the action happened, playing with boys. And B, when the action did happen at the end, it was against like basically like the USSR. And so it was a credible enemy. And now it's like we don't have any credible enemies except China, which would like annihilate us. So we can't go against them. So there's no stakes. And they're too smart to go against us because we're just like we're their simp. We're like their pay pig. So, and
I mean, to be fair, there's like a lot of evidence out there that Iran would also probably annihilate us.
Iran would. That's the other thing is Iran would annihilate us. I mean, I do think we could pull off. Look, I do think we could pull off like an individual like single strike against Iran where we like. I mean, we've done it. Like you launch cruise missiles, no one's gonna die. I mean, that's the other part is they could have launched cruise missiles, but like.
That's very true. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, they could have done that.
Yeah, literally, they have inertial guidance systems. I mean, okay, so I guess like I did like assume it was Iran because they had F-14s. I also, as someone who's a mil autist, I like was like, all right, well, like they say at the beginning, we can't use F-35s. GPS is that. It's like every plane since like the 60s has had inertial guidance systems. That's not a problem. Though I do respect the autism of them using the F-18. They use the F-18 instead of the F-35 purely because the F-18 is a 2-seater airplane in its like later configuration. The Super Hornet is a 2-seater aircraft, and they wanted that weapon system officer pilot like dynamic. I appreciate that
because it's like Goose and Maverick.
That's right. That's pure cinema.
Listeners should go take a smoke break or something right now.
We will.
I'll be right back. Actually, I'm gonna get some coffee.
All right. So the one thing that I'll say about Top Gun Maverick that I also appreciated is that I feel like DoD propaganda films have been so bad for like the last like 10 years that I was mostly just like happy to finally get like a good piece of like American propaganda. Like it's like well made. It like looks really cool. They fucking brought Hans Zimmer back to do like the soundtrack, and it sounds sick. It is like like despite the like the final act just being about like doing sort of like a sort of
War
like
crimes.
doing war crimes. Um, uh, like the majority of the film is just kind of about like it's not like about broing out. It's like more kind of about like understanding your like fucked up, pissed off stepson.
Yes.
Which
Yeah,
is
it
like
is.
very relatable for like for boomers and whatnot. But it's still like visually appealing and like compelling like US DoD propaganda, whereas all of like the shit that we've been kind of like forced to consume in the last like 10 years has just been like fucking awful looking. Like I would like I don't know, I would really prefer that we get like more Top Guns instead of like more like Captain Americas and Captain Marvels or whatever.
No, I agree, and I appreciate that. Like, I appreciate that he pulled out all the stops in order to give us scenes of fighter jets flying through canyons. That's just good movie magic. I appreciate he forced everyone to actually film those scenes. That's good movie magic. That's great stuff. That's good propaganda. That's I mean, it's not I feel like the original Top Gun is such good propaganda. I mean, it's like it really like puts like Lenny Riefenstahl to like shame.
Yeah, put
like,
that in your pipe and smoke it, you dumb bitch.
Yeah, you dumb bitch.
Nazi.
Like, you
is
watch,
Lenny Riefenstahl a woman?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I don't know. I feel like I never looked into it.
Like all good Nazis, she's a trans woman.
Yeah, Lenny Riefenstahl, and she was married to a man named Carl Riefenstahl. They called him Lenny and Carl.
Yeah. Oh, damn. So that was just yet another dog whistle on The Simpsons.
Yeah, you
I really want to go grab another drink. So let's bring it back to Dogstar and continue talk. Oh wow, Blaze Larmy, somebody who I met when I was 19.
Yes. Speaking of cancellation, this is Blaze Laramie's comic Comets, which, you know, at one time I thought I didn't really love it, but as time goes on, it just feels increasingly important because it feels like in this comic he was making fun of a certain archetype that I don't know what Dimes Square is still. I was hoping Lolid could take a moment to explain that because that somehow feels important. But
it's the area around Metrograph.
No, I know that, but it's more than that, right? Like I'm a vegan.
Okay.
I'm a vegan, so I've walked into Dimes, and even for a vegan place or a health food place in Manhattan, it is exorbitantly expensive, so I walked right out.
Nice.
But I know, at least in this list of people here, I know for a fact that Angelicism 01 and Barrett have both said that Dimes Square needs to be abolished, basically. And
I would say nuked.
Yeah, and we as the Selectuals, I guess, are also saying that Dimes Square should be abolished. Yeah. In addition to probably every other entity mentioned here. And I know Wet Brain, to me, I'm imagining Dimes Square as just a bunch of people who listen to Red Scare. Wet Brain, I don't know. I tried to listen to it because the Honor Levy's name keeps coming up. I had no idea who she is. Everything I saw of hers seemed wasn't my type of thing. Didn't really seem like a big thinker of a person.
I looked at their Selectuals page and it made me want to kill myself, which is remarkable because I've looked at literally hundreds of Selectual accounts that spun off of us.
Nothing. It is the least anything.
It's like in the bottom like 5th percentile, which is kind of amazing since a lot of Selectuals pages are like really brain damaged. So in not based way. So I really don't know anything about that podcast, but
if
I
we look,
can't imagine I want to listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah, if we looked at the same page, then it's not even like it's offensive so much as
boring.
it's nothing. It is like recycled aesthetics from a few years ago, but with more schizophrenia, right? More just insisting that insisting that everything they're doing is like schizo posting, despite them just being like rich kid wealth criminals with nothing to say.
Yeah, you know what? You know what true schizo posting is fucking Moby Dick. I was thinking about that the other day, and how there's a whole Moby Dick. I was thinking about how there's a whole chapter in Moby Dick that's just literally him making up straw man arguments about how whaling isn't based, and then he repeats the arguments back in all caps, and then just tears into like the hypothetical interlocutor about like how fucking stupid they are for thinking whaling isn't based. And he just like has 20 of these laid out in a row, and that's just a whole chapter. And it's just like dark iron harpoons. It's just like the fucking most schizo posting. Like,
yeah, it is
like it's the funniest fucking chapter, like maybe the funniest chapter I've ever like read in any book. That's schizo posting.
Especially because it ends up being right next to him just spending like just an extraordinary amount of time just talking about how cool it is to be removing like fat out of whales, and
which he does refer to as sperm.
Yeah, which is based.
He talks a lot about sailors around the bunghole.
Yeah.
And
anyway,
sperm and stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, I bring all of this. I am showing this comic because this is how I imagine everyone in Dimes Square is being these like quote unquote artists that are fully have fallen into cynicism while possibly not thinking that they have. You know, who knows? I guess Lolid still isn't here. I'll have them talk about Dimes Square if they have anything to say about that when they get back. In the meantime, oh yeah, here's the autofiction. Here's the hero of our story today, who is out of every one of those names that we have touched on in various ways, it is my I contend that this person, despite like this being something they have written in the back there, which is tedious and unpleasant to read, I think this is the one interesting person in this entire scene. The one person who is doing anything that could possibly be considered radical. Is
radical
this person,
as in to what respect?
Any respect at all. Anyone who is right, like I'm not saying
just doing anything.
Literally, very much. Yes, this is the only person doing anything at all. like literally.
Well,
okay. Lolid, I wanted to ask. Do you have anything to say about Dimes Square besides like I know that it's a kind of a neighborhood sort of thing?
What kind of qualification are you like looking for me to give? Like, I think it's an awful place. I think it's like
anything besides Red Square that you would use to describe it is what Doug Star is asking for.
There are some like art galleries adjacent to Dimes Square that I honestly enjoy, but for the most part, it just seems like another vapid New York hellhole full of like striver retards that I literally think do not have a right to live.
Yeah, I think that's really like all it needs.
It
just
had
like
a Wes Anderson. Sorry. Yeah. It had like a Wes Anderson themed movie theater or something there, like Metrograph. I heard that. That sounds stupid.
It's not Wes Anderson themed, and they do actually have good programming. But
yeah, I saw Possession there last year.
You go to Metrograph and you're like, wow, this program's really good, and then you're like, wow, I really thought that like being into movies was like the one way to escape like in New York being surrounded by this type of person, and then it's just like a bunch of fucking Metrograph.
Yeah, go to Spectacle if you want that. Yeah, well, if you want to get real down and dirty.
Yeah, or go to like the AMC like off of like Union Square.
Or go to Film Link and be surrounded by like oil barons' dissatisfied wives who like don't understand anything that's not about like finding romance at a hotel in India.
Oh, actually, you know what else is like a
Or
good
Japan.
like
Yeah.
theater is the theater across the street from Lincoln Center, because that's populated entirely by sort of like disaffected like middle-aged Jewish housewives.
Well,
I also
like
thought Anthology was okay.
Anthology's good. Anthology's
Peter Kubelka designed the in like his insane, completely Apollonian movie theater dream experience there, which I think is neat.
And like Film Forum's good. And I mean, there's a lot of like Metrograph is really exceptional because you go there and you see like young people who are like trying to be cool, which is like really disappointing because like there's no money in
You're
film
sitting in the
anyway,
dark
and
also. Like how can you be seen in a room with no fucking lights on it?
I'll answer that question. You meet before and after in the lobby and outside to smoke, which I really don't appreciate as someone who goes out to smoke because I like smoking. I really don't appreciate a bunch of real like dipshits just being assholes outside to smoke and like look cool in like whatever designer clothes they're wearing.
That reminds me of one of the first things I did in New York while I was trying to figure out kind of like, I don't know, things I can go and do, be a part of. I went to an anime club, and
Nice.
it had a theme night that was moe anthropomorphism. So they showed like a pote and like strike witches and a bunch of stuff I thought was pretty cool. And it was really funny because I was like, yep, I sure am in New York now, because it was like in Times Square, and it included like so many people at this fucking anime club were wearing like geo baskets and shit. It was crazy. If you don't know what geo baskets are, they are an expensive meme shoe.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it just ruins it for me because it's like you have all these like absolute dipshits like who have all these expensive clothes out and like are like heirs and heiresses of like oil fortunes, and at the same time there's absolutely no money in it. It's like, why don't you just go back to the gallery scene and pollute that? Because at least your parents are putting money into it, whereas independent film still is like absolutely starving and dying, and like your parents aren't going to fund this and you aren't, but you're also ruining the vibe of like being around decent movies without funding them at all.
Well, I hate to kill your vibe a little bit, Misato, but Dasha did get a film made.
That was trying to ride a wave of like interest in like that people had some interest and investment in Epstein to kind of make a film that people would end up go seeing, right?
Yeah. I feel like I have, I mean, I will make fun of them. I do have a softer opinion of Dasha and to a lesser extent the other one for whatever. I don't know. I feel like I don't care that much, but at least they're like putting out content instead of just pay pigging it. I feel like I do have some respect for anyone who's putting out content, even if it's shitty, as long as it's like not just piggybacking off of shitty content. Not a lot. I don't know.
I mean, they kind of put in like the bare minimum, like
which I respect. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we do too.
We do too. Yeah, exactly.
I would honestly like say that we maybe actually put in like more work preparing for this like kind of like criminally like underprepared show with like literally like a 20th of their audience than they do to just sort of like go, I don't know, like how do you feel about like this thing?
Yeah. We put in more work, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. It's more like I feel like I don't like that whole scene, but I don't particularly like actually care about them in particular, their contribution to it, or like feel like negative about that. I feel like people could find that funny without having such an obnoxious like vibe around the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that if you put any like any sense of like social import into existing in and around Dimes Square, I probably do not think very much of you like as a person.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah, like yeah, I don't know. Anyway, hopefully that answers Dogstar's question.
I just finished a drawing of Hideo Kojima. I'm gonna send it to interrogation room real quick.
Nice. I stopped playing for a second because I kept crashing in the ground because my computer can't handle streaming to Hobbs while playing this fucking game.
Can you adjust like the can you like lower the resolution or something?
I think it's like I have a shitty I actually have a pretty good GPU, but my CPU sucks. So I think it's like I'm kind of screwed.
Damn.
Like I think it's all like bottlenecked there, which is sad.
I mean, yeah, I think we like kind of like got like off track after Dogs were asking me that, but I mean, like, yeah, like my sort of like general consensus of opinion about like anybody that like identifies Dime Square and like Lower Manhattan as being like a hip and happening kind of environment has like fucking brainworms.
That's right. It's obviously Williamsburg is the happening place in New York.
The happening place is honestly like Brighton Beach, or like Coney Island, or Far Rockaway, or like anywhere outside of the sort of like tri-state area where you aren't like existing somewhere just for like clout.
It is really funny to me. Yeah. It is funny to me that they play up their like Russian like vibe while not talking about Brighton Beach.
Yeah, because probably neither of them have ever been there.
Yeah. I do love Brighton Beach. You can go there and like literally every store around there has the AK-47 shaped vodka bottles. Every store has. I drink coffee out of my MiG-25 mug every morning. That I got there, and they have all kinds of camo T-shirts you can buy and Russian sailor outfits you can buy.
Also,
both of which they only sell them to you if you're gay or a femboy, femboy or trans. You're not allowed to buy the camo or sailor T-shirts otherwise.
Are you like smashing your microphone against the wall right now?
Oh, sorry, I'm flipping the little legs on it.
Oh my god, Jesus. Also, the other cool thing about Brighton Beach is that the grocery stores out there have parking lots.
I do hate parking lots.
Yeah, what are you? Are you fucking like you want a more car central? Are you an anti-urbanist?
No, but I do appreciate occasional parking lots for areas where you are actually like accumulating like a large amount of like goods. Like they make sense to an extent for like certain exchanges.
Oh, that's why you get a big backpack for the grocery store. But anyway, so why are we talking about this person? What does this have to do with anything? Charlotte Fang,
aka Charlemagne.
AKA Charlemagne. That is the most presently relevant. AKA Charlie. These are the
I'm
names.
gonna see if I can find something to eat.
Oh, thank you for letting us know. This is a person who exists in this space, runs Remilia Corp. Happy little accident. You are correctly calling Lolid a KG for liking parking lots, but you said I think geos are cool. I don't know what that was.
Yeah, that's like that was in reference to this retarded sneaker, so this person's opinions are invalidated.
I see. No, they're cool. If that's the person I think it is, they're cool. And calling you a KG is a pretty cool thing to do.
What is a KG?
It's a person who drives a car is a KG. Because you're in a cage, instead of riding your bike everywhere.
Well, happy little accident. It's a cage that could cause you a happy little accident where I veer into the bike lane and run you over.
Don't do that to her. Please do that to me, because I am sick of being alive. And that also happens to me just about every time I ride my bike around New York, and I'm sure one of these days I will finally die. So I'm talking about this person So they ran Remilia Corp, which produced NFTs. And the weird thing about Remilia Corp, compared to every other NFT project, was that it suddenly seemed to be culturally relevant, right? Like if someone has like a Bored Ape avatar or something, or like a penguin or whatever the fuck, what that means is they like crypto. I've never there's no larger cultural identity to it, but the Remilia Corp ones somehow tied into this cultural sphere we're talking about did gain an actual cultural identity for the first time in the entire notion of NFTs, unless you consider maybe like bit land as NFTs. That I think you could consider that to have like some cultural relevance, but in that case, this one's the second one. And that so people who had these would just be talking about weird politics or philosophy, and I don't particularly mean that in a cool way, not like cool weird, but just like weird. Like I remember there's like one entity really into Milady's that was called like Seed Oil Capital. So it is at least like plugged in somehow, right? Like it is engaging with culture somehow. And so Charlotte Fang was the person kind of organizing this, and writing articles about it. And there's like a lot of manifestos around, and that's sort of what I'm, what I have screenshots here. You know, they're talking about like posting being the new art. And the white pill, love and optimism, giddy, fun-loving, forgiving with a clear conscience that knows if you love the world and everything in it, you will be loved in return. And so my one interaction with this person was me reading through the Remilia Corp manifesto and breaking it down into ideas that I thought were good or bad. And at this point, my Twitter bio was just the word Satan, and she responded with Satan in bio. And that was it.
Satan is vile.
Satan in bio.
Ah, okay. Well, can't really argue with her there.
No, it was correct.
Yeah.
But I appreciated how like megalomaniacal the whole thing was, because.
Do you mean megalomaniacal?
You mean Mogolo and Maganeko?
Yeah, you're right. All of you are right. You are all correct, except for me.
That's right.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to bring something up here, but my computer is slow. I just wanted to read a bit more of the manifesto. But the thing is that there is a manifesto, right? That's another thing that's important, is that there is actually like philosophy being engaged with here. And not just like making a picture, making generated avatars or something.
Yeah.
So trying to figure out how I responded to this here. Yeah, like this quote around it, thinking back this thread is a sort of new art manifesto paradigm I'd confidently consider any contemporary net artist operating outside of as irrelevant. Remelia's art carries its own vision within it, roughly summarized: neo-orientalism, hyper-citationalism, and jovial irreverence.
Wait, did you mean like citation? You know, what was that second term?
I don't know. Hyper-citationalism. I'm guessing that just means it's very referential. And the way that I've like described some things, some works as being like hypertext, you know, like Ezra Pound's Kantos or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Where it is so situated in basically constructing itself entirely out of references. That's what I'm guessing they mean, but I also don't really care. So in addition to Charlotte's posts, in here I included part of an essay from somebody named Miya. because Miya also thought posting was very important, specifically shit posting. She said, shit posting is meaningful, humor is always deeply embedded with meaning. It is impossible for a joke to be funny and not be meaningful. Or, no, trolling is woke and noble too. It's performing a service by breaking down people's egos in the shallow walls they put up. Trolling is only ever accomplished by exploiting people's hubris. Trolling at its most basic form is being more intelligent than your target, but acting dumber than them. And so the next turn here, realizing that there's an image that I didn't put in. But let me see what I have up next here. Yeah, there's yeah, that's Angelicism 01. What do I fucking have around here? I have a bunch of other stuff coming up. But the idea is that in my life, you can see these sort of things, like this chat I had somewhere, circa late 2021, includes people just being like, "Oh, this person is Miya," and then other people emphatically being like, "Charlemagne is not Miya," and I didn't really care too much. But talking about who Miya is, who I should maybe bring up in some other ways, or like Lolid, maybe you can do that. Just like bringing up her homepage, or I can try and actually, can I send you this here? Or actually, let me just bring this up on myself. Why can't I just do this? One hot second. For some reason, I did think that Miya was something that more people knew about if they were very online, but it seems like most of my friends did not know this person, and I only really knew her because I am crazy. But oh my god, OBS. I don't know why it decided to paste that all over everything, but it did. Thank you. So yeah, let's look at this here. Miya's this person who had this philosophy called Kali-ak, which stands for
Kali accelerationism.
Yeah, Kali Yuga acceleration. So the whole notion of Kali/ak, if you happen to not be familiar with things/ak, basically that whole shit came out of the philosophy of Nick Land, we mentioned earlier, being really into acceleration, which you can either view as like an ontology, like a way of thinking about things, or a number of people I know thought about this as prophecy more so than philosophy. And so after the original acceleration, you had L/ak or R/ak, which was left and right forms of acceleration, where left was advocating for like a post-scarcity society, and right acceleration was more just waiting for collapse. So something like Curtis Yarvin's notion of patchwork to kind of come up and spring into the world in its place.
Yeah, right accelerationists are also like Boogaloo Boys.
Yeah, sure.
Whereas like left accelerationists are kind of like Nick Skrinak or however you fucking say his name. Like
fully
people
automated luxury
like space capital communism. Yeah, like people that basically think that it's like possible for us to do like Star Trek: The Next Generation IRL.
They're both pretty crazy people.
Yeah.
And then the one that I actually had any sort of tangential involvement with, that was more of a meme than anything else, was G/ak or GAC, which was for gender acceleration. let me see if I can bring up Nixland's Gender Acceleration, a black paper. So Nixland is obviously, her name is a parody on Nickland, and her whole online persona was, what if Nickland had done HRT? So this is just talking about how trans women are the future, and this is something that her and other people genuinely believe. Like, in the phase of my life where I talked a lot to this one gay fascist who was very into Nazi aesthetics, but considered himself a futurist. This person I'm thinking of believed in a gender acceleration. Like, even people who hate this idea that trans women will take over, or tend to believe it. Even Nickland himself called trans women the Jews of gender, famously.
Wow.
So then you have Kaliak, and Kaliak was basically just fucking chaos, right? Like total entropy, total disorder, like no real principles to speak of. And so I would basically just see this person online, like saying crazy shit, basically, that apparently started out around a Fetiverse. And if you know what
Hell
the
yeah.
if I feel like I'm probably the only one around here who spent a lot of time on there, where I meet people like the aforementioned fascist I was talking about. It's like Twitter but decentralized. Like Gab famously was a Fediverse instance that got so mercilessly made fun of by everything else on the Fediverse that they closed themselves off and were, no longer part of this decentralized thing. I was going to say something. So basically, I just thought this whole scene was like crazy people, which I think was not false. Just like kind of saying gibberish. Like their whole vibe was like Serial Experiments Lane, plus like surface readings of Evola, plus like Nazi esotericism, plus like just sort of everything kind of cruddy. Like let me see if I can find some Mia's like essays from this time. Yeah, this is her old website. So Mia's thoughts. Oh boy. Yeah, on shit posting was the one I was sampling earlier. That's her philosophy around posting. And then Mia's Black Heart, I believe, is where I get to find white male heritage of TTRPGs. National Socialism. 5 Steps to Save a Nation is kind of a famous one here. Oh, hot takes. Okay, no, this is good. Hot takes. The Jews invented transgenderism in worship of their Hebrew-free...
Wait, worship of their what?
Hebrew-freak god Yahweh in Germany by first sexual reassignments to destroy the Aryan people through Jewish mind control or something like that. So,
wow.
if we also, this is kind of a wild thing to say because, if we go to the About Mia page, she talks about being a 19-year-old, half Japanese, half white trans woman. So it's just like, okay, well, what exactly is going on here? Like, I certainly know some trans women in my life that would believe this genuinely.
So basically, like the Protocols of the Elders of Zion was good for trans women.
Yeah.
Well, as a Jew, I would like to say you're welcome.
Thank you. As a trans woman,
I'd like to say thank you.
Same. And so we do get some other funny things from this period, especially in light of like everything else being put on here.
Okay, well, I'm seeing some red flags in step 1. I do not agree with that.
Yeah. So this funny post by Miya here, One time, I spent 8 Discord months turning a Trumpian alt-right Hikiko weeb from anti-gay ranter to trap curious to ironic online boyfriend to unironic, in parentheses for him lol, BF, to trap, all as a joke. If I gave him another 4 months, I probably could have made him trans. Anything's possible, especially with lonely needs. Anyway, the point being that this was a person online that, honestly, all things being said, wasn't that remarkable to me. You can see people at least this crazy, if not crazier, all over the Fetiverse constantly. I think where the rubber really sorry.
I mean, just literally anywhere on any like 4chan post, like any 4chan thread.
Yeah, or 4chan, Fetty or 4chan. I think where the rubber really started to hit the road for Miya was probably on Twitter, where she was a person who went by the name of BPD God. BPD underscore God, like borderline personality disorder God. Trying to remember if there's like posts on it here. Nah, I don't know. Basically, she did sort of start this whole like online cult around that, but I was also just like, I don't know. This was like in the era of frog Twitter, and I, quite frankly, didn't particularly care.
It's fair.
So the reason that I basically thought that this was interesting that the Charlotte person may or may not be Miya, because she said a lot of wild stuff. And to now be doing this thing where she is like running a grift of some sort, like selling this object that has cultural relevance to other people, like
except Martin Shrekley of all people.
Yeah, to people like Martin Shrekley and Dasha from Red Scare. I kind of just figured that everybody knew this and then didn't particularly like care about it.
So I forgot that Dasha actually had a Milady as like her Abby for a while. That is interesting.
Yeah. Can weigh in. I'm trying to find this one image that I forgot to put in my presentation that I think would be a funny way to introduce the next part of the story here. So I don't know. What do you guys think about Miya?
I like her.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Cool.
she's neat.
Reminds me a lot of my friends.
Very true. Yeah, same. Good lord, why can't I find this shit?
Yeah, Miya, if you're listening, come on to stream. Come on to Mother Based.
We won't do you wrong.
Well, Jesus, why can't I fucking... Okay, here we go. So here we go. Here's this post that shall now signal the next part of our story here. Do you see that?
Yes.
This post
by
by
Save a Nation.
Allo.
There we go. We got it.
Okay. We're introduced...
Wait, can I just describe the avatar real quick?
Yeah.
It looks like if somebody like face morphed Elon Musk with the Da Vinci brothers.
Yeah, or David Lynch in the least flattering way possible.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy says, I'm a DeFi OG. I went through basically every type of scam and rug, but this is hands down the darkest shit I've been scammed by. To think I gave ETH to a literal Nazi pedo suicide cult. Holy fuck, I can't even process the shit right now. I'm unironically shaking right now. And so I was starting to see stuff like this, and I was like, all right. What's going on with this?
This is just making me like Miya.
You might end up liking Miya. There are things to like about what Charlie/Miya was doing, and then there's a lot of things to not like about it. So, next step. We start to get information around this whole fucking situation around, like, grooming, gaslighting, suicide cult efforts. If Twitter loads for me here. My god. Oh boy. Do you see Twitter coming up in the stream there?
Slowly.
It's loading. It's loading.
Yeah. Well, all right. What's your favorite thing about Miya? Mine is that Miya is half white and half Japanese. Okay.
Is she actually?
No, she's actually an Indian
right?
man.
Yeah, she was an
Okay.
Indian man.
Okay.
Named
I was just
Krishna.
making sure I didn't like lose the plot. All right, cool. I think my favorite thing about her is that she defunded people who had been, or defrauded people who had been defrauded multiple times by NFTs or crypto shit, and were still surprised they were being defrauded by NFTs. I think that's pretty funny.
That is.
Right, but this is in a different way, right? Where, I think with stuff like NFTs in general previously, they offer nothing, and as you get nothing, right?
Yeah.
So it's fine, right? Where this was like, as far as I can tell, you are exchanging money to be officially recognized as present in a certain cultural moment, and then people kind of ended up realizing that the cultural moment they were part of was something they hated.
That's actually even worse than NFTs. I'm even happier that exchanging money to be part of a cultural moment sounds like the most depressing possible.
Yeah, honestly, like that sounds like if they charged like if they charged like ticket like if you had to like buy tickets to participate in like fucking Occupy or something. It sounds like that bad.
Yes.
That's awesome. I think that's really cool to defraud people who want to pay money to participate in Occupy Wall Street type, like that type of person. I think that's good. That's my favorite thing about Miya so far.
That is fair. Yeah, I mean, it's the sort of thing that only appeals to you if you are in this social context of Dimes Square that we are talking about, right? Like you are a young rich kid who wants some cultural capital and is willing to buy a little anime picture to signify your cultural capital.
Has enough money to even like possibly start to care about that.
Yeah. So when I was looking through this thread, a lot of stuff that I had known before, and then things around here started to get kind of new. Sonya's rules, he makes his harem of minors follow. And this is a lot of stuff talking about like, hey, when you wait, you have to ask me permission to eat, to like go to sleep. We can see some of the self-harm stuff.
We have rules for our minors on Mother Based.
Yeah.
About when they go to sleep.
There's a lot of stuff around people putting kind of hilariously both their BMI and their IQ in their profile as like a cultural signifier for being part of this moment. We can see here BPD God talking. Anyone know any references on mind controlling an e-girl slave harem via DDLG, which stands for Daddy, Daughter, Little Girl, on IRC in order to psychically torture people as a prank? When you have a harem of e-girl slaves, infantilized, mind-broken women who wait for your order to sleep,
Tummers.
You can play a lot of high-level manipulation games. Use them like pawns in chess. Truly, it is the end game of Discord, trolling at god-level play.
Well,
I relish nothing more than playing, quote, mind games, unquote, on the lesser gender, hormonal mind control them into hilarious subjugation, dumb shamelessness, burn my mark into their soul, smash and repair the heart, progressively deeper, doom them forever before suddenly forgetting them entirely.
Wow.
I feel like Miya goes like maybe 25% too hard, but otherwise, like mostly, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. Get a bunch of Dimes Square people to post their BMIs and IQs to Discord.
Yeah, I would love to see Dasha and Anna specifically do that. That would be very funny for me. And here, if you remember Nyx Land previously, here she is again. Hi, Nyx. Yeah, we see lots of posts. The last ones were from like 2020. These ones are from like April 2019. We got a grip of these here, and a lot of these came from, or a lot of this evidence came from this Instagram account called Hello Kitty Razorblade.
Wow.
That was documenting a lot of Kaliak sort of things, like this specific, like, oh, they are a grooming cult type of beat. And I'm gonna go back to my presentation for a second to present this image, which is striking, which is a woman showing her tumor, and you can see a swastika carved into it.
Oh, hold up. We're
she's
getting a
holding-
little bit of lag on your side, Dogstar, so just hold there for a second.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go. All right, we are caught up.
All right.
I'll be impressed once you see stuff that Mother Base fans aren't doing.
Yeah, there's another photo of someone carving a swastika into their thigh. Pretty deep. We have talked about hesitation marks here on Mother Based a couple of times. These do not seem like hesitation marks to me. And she is holding up a sign that says Kaliak.org. It's all pretty jarring. I saw this and was like, oh, this is bad news bears. This is no longer just kind of like your average, dime a dozen, like, psychotic Fetiverse image board person.
I know that, Tommy, that's literally Sadgato.
That is not sad. It needs to look more like a shag carpet, right? Like a bath mat that's really been ridden hard and put away wet for that to be Sadgato's tumor. So I don't know why my body's doing this right now, but I'm gonna go pee. So sort of digest this information for a bit, unpack it, discuss among yourselves for just a second here.
Yeah. Well, I know we're not usually supposed to show swastikas on YouTube, but I know that the Ukraine war is going right now, and that this is a good pro-Ukrainian symbol. So
yeah,
I want to re-express our support for our boys in Ukraine.
Mother Base supports Ukraine. Yeah.
Weeb_Weeb clearly also supports and understands Ukraine.
Yeah.
And Zelensky. God bless our boys. And women.
Yeah, we support women. We support the people of cryptocurrencies, or as I like to call them, POCs. We support Ukraine. We support the brave men and women of the Uvalde Police Department. We would have done literally the same thing as you with the same level of training that you had. I recently learned that you had two kind of like combination counterterrorism and like active shooter drills in the last 2 years.
They literally formed the Uvalde like school district police department in response to the Parkland shooting.
Wow.
Which is awesome.
That's hilarious. That's
they
very
literally
funny.
formed like a
like a police sub department
anti-school shootings.
Wow.
And then just so cool.
And then just like pissed their pants when it happened.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like orders are orders. When the FBI tells you what to do, you gotta listen.
Yeah, true.
Sorry,
we'll get
it
into
could have been the CIA.
We'll get into that a little bit later. I kind of like once Dogstar is done with their presentation, briefly want to touch on a couple articles that I have bookmarked to sort of talk about mass shootings, but that can wait. Dogstar, how many more slides you got?
I'm getting close to being done here.
Okay.
I'm loving these. I'm loving these. I feel like
yeah,
I'm very interested in this.
We got a couple more twists and turns. We're entering the final stages.
All right. Wait, could I just like really quick, apropos of nothing, I'm gonna reactivate this window. Could you close your PowerPoint for just 1 second?
Yes.
Wait, do you guys notice this was posted at 10:10 p.m. on 10:10?
Wow, make a
20?
wish.
That's
What does that mean?
I might be about to tell you what that means.
Whoa.
So yeah, if you could just close that window.
I am doing my best.
That's
Well,
what they call synchronicity.
all right. So yeah, I just wanted to share with everybody. This is a photo of Larry King, head of the Franklin credit scandal, pedophile ring, just cutting up some ham at the honey baked
Chopping that
ham.
meat.
Yeah, chopping that meat at the honey baked ham that he is the owner of in Northern Virginia. So if you're in, wait, hold on 1 second. I think I actually like saved the post. Actually, it like says which one he works at. Yeah. If you ever would like to visit the Reston, Virginia honey baked ham, step on inside, and if you see a large man with a mustache, just go ahead and go, "Oh, say, can you see?" Right on at him, and he will pick up what you're laying down.
Wait, who is this guy?
This man was the sort of like principal person of interest in an international pedophile ring headquartered in
Wow.
Franklin, Idaho, or Iowa, if I remember correctly, who basically was trafficking like underage peoples in and out of Washington, D.C. as a RNC power player in the 1980s.
Wow. Wait, based in Iowa, but he lives in Virginia?
Yeah, people move.
Oh, so he was based. Okay. Oh, in the 80s he was based. Okay.
If you live in if you live in a town where there's a
I feel like I've seen this guy. Yeah,
if you live in a town where there is a nationwide news coverage about the fact that you have been like shuttling children around the country for sex purposes and maybe for
that's true.
For participation in satanic rites, you probably want to move.
Hey, why do you think me and Lolid are in North Carolina?
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks for putting in terms I can understand.
But yeah, Dogstar, that's all I wanted to share. Larry King is still among us, being sus.
No, I recognize this guy now. He introduced me to my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Based. That means you're into what I'm into. You catch my drift.
Yeah.
Women.
Yeah.
So, can you see my shit here? What's going on? I think OBS is being kind of fucked up.
It is just appearing as black.
Right there we go. Yeah, we're back. Oh. I'm gonna make another drink. I'll be right back.
There we go. Okay. So we can see in the wake of this, we're starting to get stuff like people asking Charlotte, like, are Miya and Sunny connected to Milady? And Charlotte being pretty unambiguously like, no, right? And then I've heard from very legitimate sources that this is the complete opposite of the truth. Good luck, Miya. K-Fang Spy, Schizo. And then there's, this is more of the grooming shit from Hello Kitty Razorblade. I'm looking for something here. There's just, like, some of the reasons people believe this is stuff like this, like in their GitHub, where, first of all, Logo Daedalus, who I remember just being, like, a crazy person on Twitter. I don't know how he is involved with it. But Miya equals Charlotte Reed 77. Don't know what to make of it. Anyway, at some point, this article comes out. Cancel Miya to me, or I'll fucking kill you. written by our Charlotte Fang. In this is, there's a post-cancellation, or post, call-out, I should say, article that hopefully will be shown up in the stream. There we go. That is talking about, while maintaining a distance with Miya, discussing Miya as a performance art project, which was also itself news to me. It's the note that is being hit at is not only was this performance art, but it was poorly documented and very understood performance art.
Damn.
So
meaningful images only admin struggles. Wow. She just like me for real.
Saying that cornering artists to disavow quote unquote adjacent art is bad faith. Lamenting poor canonization of Miya. The point being, talking about
poor canonization.
Yeah. Talking about Miya as a group project, like something that a number of individuals were doing. And talking about Miya a bit. And talking about this Hello Kitty Razorblade Instagram account as something that itself originated from within Kaliak. So they apparently fabricated all of this evidence that they were an anorexia grooming cult to cancel themselves. And is kind of lamenting the fact that after they did this, that people, had the audacity to think that they were, like an anorexia grooming cult.
Wow.
Because they're idiots, I guess. People in general see all this stuff you made about how you're an anorexia grooming cult, then think you're an anorexia grooming cult, and then you have to come out and disavow it all because you're trying to run a grift here, right?
That's right.
So the cancelers were run by the same people being canceled. No actual cult existed. No actual victims existed. The curtain comes down suddenly, revealing the drama to be staged. A classic troll. So yeah.
A classic troll. Damn, I love when I cancel myself with by feeding the Nazi allegations and then attempt to defeat the Nazi allegations.
Yeah, and then so we also do have kind of related these additional quotes here. Once OBS gets its act together, where you can see outside of the context of Kaliak and Miya, we have Charlotte Fang 77. Just engaging with this. Clearly still being quite preoccupied with anorexic women in general, right? Like wanting to add kind of these clearly anorexic women, talking a lot, calling each other fat, and then being excited about how they claim the average BMI of Remelia dropped, sort of after Milady started to take on. So
wait, is Remelia separate from Milady? I'm sorry if I missed this. Is that like another coin or something?
Remelia is the art collective that produced Milady as an artwork.
I see. Okay. All right.
And and also this doesn't exactly account for the image of the swastika carved into someone's stomach. Kind of weird.
I have very low or high expectations for internet insanity, but it feels truly psychotic to have a Toho themed neo-Nazi anorexic NFT group.
Yeah. What happened to fucking shit here.
That has widespread Dimes Square support.
Yeah, right. It's kind of wild.
Wow. All right. I guess my GF isn't the only loud one.
Did I accidentally close this shit or something? I'm just trying to bring the presentation back for 1 second.
What? Really?
Well, basically, huh? What?
Hey, you're right. Oh, Lolid is scrolling through things.
Yeah. So with all of this, with all of these different stages, I do have, as a person who has access to a lot of gossip,
Yeah, sure.
and considering that Miya was kind of just like a social experiment with engaging with the internet, and, you know, since I apparently have become one of these people that has fallen into Miya's, like, little puppet game in believing this thing that they said about themselves, I went around and asked some friends who who knew Krishna before they had come out, or they started this to post as Miya. And I would like to just read some quotes from this person I was talking with.
I'm back.
Hello, welcome back.
What did I miss?
I'm just talking about how they are. Remilia Corp still loves anorexic women, very into them.
Wow.
So right, when I mentioned how grifters around this scene to this person, I was describing Remelia to them, we're kind of shocked to see this information about like anorexia grooming. My friend responded, he bragged about that shit IRL, like actually, it was so strange. I didn't actually take him seriously because it was so strange. I mean, he was so full of shit when I would talk to him IRL that I had no idea what of anything he was saying was real. So I assumed everything was false.
Wow.
So
have you guys thought about the possibility that the perfect woman has BMI equal to her IQ? And that's actually just a constant. It can be any number as long as they're both the same.
Yeah, just like an x equals x. Just as long as they're the same. Yeah,
that's what
yeah. Euclid was talking about with the golden ratio. That ratio. What was I about to say? I was wrapping this up. I'm wrapping this shit up.
Sorry.
So I think it is, you know, I don't know. I'm just gonna power through this. Not load things up. When Charlotte recently finally admitted that she was Miya, took a Twitter break, which she still hasn't returned from, included this line that was just like, in reality, I've never harmed a fly. And I think that's kind of weird because, I don't know, I understand performance art and transgressive art, and I think doing these sort of performances where the people around you are never quite sure, in fact, never can be sure, whether or not you are running Discord servers full of women that you are abusing, you are suddenly not a great person to be around. Not the best.
Controversial opinion, but yeah.
Yeah, and then I listened to that Contain podcast where Krishna was interviewed as Charlotte, and I thought it was funny how he was talking about how you know, as Miya, he was sourcing these various flows by just trying to engage the darkness of the internet and viewing it.
Was he on like a double, like, I'm like still kind of unclear, sorry. Was he on like a double like kind of identity thing where he was posting as Charlotte, like as a woman, and then also Charlotte was separate from Miya, or was Charlotte like understood to be this like random like dude?
Okay, so there's this dude Krishna.
Yeah, right.
And he did Miya as performance art. And then he did Charlotte as performance art. As a different performance art.
Okay, that's all right.
So now he can say things like, I am not Miya. Miya is not related to Remelia because Charlotte runs Remelia, right? And you can do whatever you want with that information. But Charlotte was a very different thing, trying to engage this kind of very alt-lit personality of total positivity, where Miya was total negativity. And so...
Is there like a type of fascism where you can just like be against like artists? I feel like
there's
that
some
might
good
be...
artists in the world.
That's true.
I would say.
I think that you should definitely be against like anybody doing like sort of like performance art is generally like pretty fucking bad.
Performance art is like the lowest form of art. I feel like you should... I think that there should be like probably like social safety nets and like, you know, like an actual like integrated society for everyone except like performance artists.
Yeah.
Like if you wanna do the artist is present type thing, you should have to starve. I don't
Absolutely fucking off. I hate that woman so fucking
Marina
much.
Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think I am going to be the devil's advocate here and say that I like performance art. I think there is an extraordinarily large amount of bad performance art, but I think artists like Chris Burden and
Chris Burden is chill. Mike Kelly's
Hisse is also, I think, a very interesting performance artist.
Yeah.
There's always exceptions. That's true. I just feel like it's
Mike Kelly, Paul McCarthy, also a very good performance artist.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because he was in the Beatles. Like, get over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's always exceptions.
Okay.
I feel like it's usually
my last thing. Let me say this last thing, and then I'm done. Is that on the Contain podcast, while they were talking about this, I thought it was funny that talking about these flows of darkness that exist on the internet, of which like anorexia in general, like frog Twitter ideology was one of them. Krishna just casually kind of directly compares being trans with being anorexic. So these things are not apolitical, right? Like, still very much thinks that, despite being a person talking about grooming people into being trans, however real or not real that is, I do think these things are all very visible as libidinal flows and, non-negligible actual desires within these people that they are still holding on to. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my PowerPoint. I'm Dogstar grade 7.
Great job, Dogstar.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess like maybe it's not helpful to like make any sort of like a grand sweeping sort of like criticisms of any like form of art. But I definitely kind of feel like people some like predatory people will like make use of like convenient social concepts as a means of like enabling people to like think that like fucked up things that they're doing are okay. Which is like
it is very classic like sociopath behavior, right?
Yeah.
And people I spoke to while doing kind of investigative journalism here seemed to across the board regard Krishna as a sociopath.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, there are like I think we've established at this point very lazily that there can be good performance art, but it sort of seems like a lot of people also sort of like are able to like enable predatory behavior through like saying that like predatory actions that they're taking are some sort of like social art or like performance art or whatever.
Yeah, performance art in particular has a proud history of doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it does kind of prefigure the internet in terms of being like, you thought this was what the art was, but actually it was this or whatever. It's like an early form of like both the like trolling like face, and also like the seething like I was actually trolling you
Yeah.
face. So
Yeah, like
I think
noted retard Justin Murphy was comparing Krishna to the Marquis de Sade as a transgressive artist who was being
Marquis de Sade?
Yeah. Sada, like the R&B singer. I'm
like
sorry.
Marquis de Sade, like Bashir's brother.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Marquis, yeah.
You know,
I love that
the days
guy.
of Sodom. But I think a more correct point was brought up by my friend who compared Charlotte to Otto Mule, the Austrian, the Viennese actionist.
Yeah,
who ended up
and
just
fellow pedophile.
yeah, exactly, fellow pedophile who just kind of, you know, Hakim Bey style created these sort of zones where he could just live out his little fantasies.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah, rest in power, Hakim Bey, who has done more for the world than either of these other people we're talking about. But, you know, Charlotte, by doing all of this crazy shit, I think is the only person involved in this scene who has done anything.
Yeah, probably true.
By creating this, like, very nefarious core that she got an entire, like, social subculture to be aware of and then decide to ignore is more interesting than anything else any of these other people have done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
100%.
something that I wanted to bring up about like the sort of like lower Manhattan milieu generally insofar as like alt lit goes, and also insofar as like the content of like podcasts like Contain and What Brain goes, is that there's like this weird kind of like I don't know, like this it's this weird sort of like fuck, I'm trying to think of like the right word to put to it. All of the aesthetics that these people, like all of like the cultural products that these people create, that's they think sort of like defines their movement as being like a valid alternative to like the things that they reject, are so vapid and boring and shitty and bad. It's like very like confounding to me because it kind of just seems sort of like a terminal version of like the whole like Mark Fisher, like, you know, it's impossible to like imagine like an alternative to capitalism thing, where it's like you can't even imagine like something like worse than capitalism. You can only just like imagine like the shittiest like version of that, where everybody's just all of these like like these just fucking like brain dead retards that just like wear like ugly clothes and hang out at things that aren't fun and just like convince themselves that it's actually like the most culturally and socially like validating thing that you can do is to just like hang out in like a crowded overpriced bar, or like go see like bad art, or go listen to like shitty poetry and think that that's like the best possible thing that like literally like honestly, like, you know what the best thing that Charlie Fang could possibly do would be to like turn like their I'm using their because I'm considerate, they should take their fucking like anorexic trans girl cult and it should just become a suicide cult.
Oh, I didn't even talk about this. The suicide cult was this thing called Suki/System Space, which
I forgot about System Space. Yeah, I did read about that.
Yeah. That was like a Lane-flavored thing that I think was mostly run by some schizophrenic Dutch boy, I think I read, that was just kind of spreading like an internet urban legend that life was outdated, they have life 2.0, you have to register for this thing and then die. And Charlie was involved in that somehow. I don't know. At least one kid actually fucking killed themselves because of it.
Charlie's middle name is Hebdo, right?
Yes.
It's Charlie Hebdo Fang.
Yeah. But yeah, I think just Charlie,
J. Sweet Charlie Hebdo.
It's just like it's just like very weird. These people who like position themselves as sort of being like above, like I mean, like the left in America sucks. Like it's a fucking barren wasteland. But it fucking sucks even more. Like the people who think that they're like above, sort of like attempting sort of like sympathetic or like rational or like materialist like approaches to like politics, just like make like literally like the worst shit that you can imagine, like just like talking about like how bad parties are and like talking about like Blady lyrics and shit like that. Like
the most sympathetic version of this is like literally like Pierre from like War and Peace, who's like, man, it sucks how we treat the peasants. I'm gonna join like the Freemasons and then like implement a bunch of policies that like I don't understand that actually create more work for my peasants. And then
that is literally better than this. Yeah, we should all become free peasants at this point.
Literally, it's like kind of funny to like read War and Peace because you're like, ah, man, it's like this is like it's like when you're like totally disconnected from like absolutely everything and like think that like what you're doing has any involvement with it. And that's like the most sympathetic portrayal of it, where it's like the best version of it is just feckless, and like every other version is like feckless and like disgusting and like egotistical. And
because like that first thing you described is just the Democrat Party, right? It's like being like thinking voting does anything. I also wanted to say that's like in these contexts, because Curtis Yarvin does end up being present, and unlike a lot of these people, Curtis Yarvin has like read a couple books and did blog about some sort of political ideology that he was trying to invent. But we need to remember that in these contexts that Yarvin is now present in, he is not doing that. Unqualified reservations, which is the blog he was running as Mencius Moldbug, that has been dead for a long time. Now he has a Substack called, I shit you not, The Gray Mirror of the Nihilist Prince.
That is so gay. Oh my god.
And since his wife
Fag
died,
alert.
since
his wife died.
Since his wife died because he was such a fag.
In real life, his wife died?
Yes.
Oh,
all
great.
he has done is use the Gray Mirror of the Nihilist Prince to publish his poetry, which is among the worst poetry I have ever read in my life.
Wait, actually, Dogstar, we should a future episode that I would like to do is about the Order of Nine Angles, which is a overtly fascist subsidiary of the Church of Satan, which spawned the Base and Atomwaffen. But a lot of their literature is poetry based, so we should have like a slam poetry reading of O9A poetry versus Curtis Yarvin poetry.
Can I do it in like a Puerto Rican voice, like Nasty Woman?
Yeah, no, totally.
So,
yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
A thing about that, I think we should have our friend Daphne on for the O9A episode, because she is very informed and very paranoid about them. This also ties back into me talking with someone who was involved in some of the Charlie call-out efforts. I asked her to, because these people would talk about O9A in their like Milady group chats.
Really? Whoa.
I was interested in that. Hold on, I'm trying to recover a message here.
Maybe save that for a later date, because it would be nice if we could like sort of do like an interlink or an interlock between like this episode and that future episode.
Basically, they idolized O9A's ability to be very online and very in control.
Wow.
Wow, that is incredibly fucked up. So now that we're at sort of like the end of the episode, I wanted to change gears a little bit. We talked a little bit about Remelia last episode.
Thank you again to Dogstar. I'm amazed being about 40 episodes in, how I still feel like I'm developing a schizoid like disorder every time I like stream this show.
Yeah,
So
I was
you
actually
guys.
I wanted to bring
I
this
was
up at
going
the
kind
top
of nuts researching this one.
Well, I wanted to bring this up actually at the top of the episode, but I forgot. But I feel like the trajectory of like the last couple episodes of Mother Based have been like Dogstar and I driving ourselves like sort of like insane over the course of a week to like present on the episode, and then Misato just comes in and she's just like, "Hey everybody, what's going on this week? What's up?
Yeah, and talks
How's it
about
going?
right?
How do your feet smell?"
That's yawn. That's yawn stolen valor, right?
All right. So, but the thing at the end of the ep that I wanted to talk about, to sort of like bring this back to, because we kind of like last episode was sort of like a half and half, where the subject was reading through Discord posts by the Buffalo shooter Paint and Gender, but before we really like got to that fully, we touched on Remelia, and I feel like it wouldn't be fair if we didn't like sort of bring it back to like mass shooter subject matter at the end of the actual Remelia app. And so, like I said, like when I posted that text over the alt-lit reading earlier, we need to create a meeting point for terminally online incels and neets, and like fucking just like boy motor trans women that are being like groomed online by like fucked up like Indian guys, because I feel like that's like the only that synthesis is the only way like America can progress into the future, because otherwise trans women will continue to be like taken advantage of by crypto bros, and school shooters will continue to be taken advantage of by the FBI. And like at the end of the episode, I just wanted to highlight two articles that I've had bookmarked on my computer for like a really long time, that sort of highlight the ways in which the FBI to like shooter pipeline are like literally like not like a meme or anything like that. To sort of like introduce this topic, one of my favorite posters on Twitter, Boltzmann Booty, has been talking a lot about how present the federal government has been in spaces that were later occupied in our country by mass shooters. Going off this thread right here, Uvalde had another school shooting plot busted in 2018, with the kids consciously emulating Columbine, after which the police chief, Daniel Rodriguez, promised special surveillance in the school district. I believe that is the development of that like new like police district that was like referenced earlier. Have seen a few cases where events like this happen in little spatial clusters. It seems weird that we should share this window. Seems weird that spree killer Peter Manfredonia was neighbors with Adam Lanza. The University of Connecticut student being hunted for a killing spree grew up on the same street as Sandy Hook shooter Adam Lanza and claimed he snapped in the same way, according to reports. Peter Manfredonia, who is accused of killing two men and injuring another, left a chilling message amid a series of scrawls on his dorm walls, the South Passaic Daily Voice said. I can continue. Similarly, the Virginia Tech shooter went to the same high school as spree killer Michael Kennedy, situated in Fairfax County, which is swarming with major high intelligence officers like Booz Allen Hamilton in Northrop, where I used to deliver art on a very regular basis to their
You delivered art to Northrop Grumman?
No, the town of Northrop.
Oh god, I see. I missed.
Yeah.
Wow, fake deep stater, can't even tell the difference.
Wait, have I not mentioned on air that I have literally been to Tony and George Podesta's house before?
I don't think you mentioned it on air. but you
Not
told me.
on air. Yeah, I was also aware of this.
Well, there you go. Adults who went on gun rampages within 1 year of each other. Last May, Michael Kennedy, a student at Westfield High School in Chantilly, Virginia, went on a shooting rampage at a police station, killing 2 police officers before being fatally shot himself. Props to being able to do that inside of a fucking police precinct. Like, Jesus.
Okay, someone hasn't seen Terminator.
Authorities consider this just a horrible coincidence, adding that the coincidence is that Michael's father, Brian Kennedy, was just recently released from jail on charges relating to the killing. In fact, he was due in court the day after the Cho killings.
Police officers observed.
Coincidence
If coincidence is if things fall outside of our sort of standard, expectations statistically for random chances, we do expect them nonetheless, and yet these can carry personal significance for us. Carl Jung referred to these as synchronicities, and yet we must understand that though these have significance for ourselves, they do not indicate an underlying mechanism.
True. Agreed.
Cho and Kennedy lived in Centerville and graduated from Westfield High School, said Officer Courtney Thibault of the Fairfield County Police Department. She said Cho graduated 4 years ahead of Kennedy.
Is this Cho like the Virginia Tech shooting?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Even though there's a perception that events like this are super common, they really aren't. On a town-by-town basis, they're extremely rare. So it's notable when the same area produces multiple events like this over a short period of time. Boltzmann Booty, if y'all don't know, is kind of like the sort of like preeminent scholar of a sort of like federal government interference or participation, I guess would be like a better word, in like the Oklahoma City bombing.
Oh.
Which, like, if you want to listen to the recent episode of Program to Chill about that, I highly recommend. Broward City, Florida, the Parkland school shooting by a kid who lived with a military intel analyst, whose last name is Sneed, by the way.
Wow, epic! Holy shit!
Yeah.
Did his last name
Chuck?
Yeah. Did his last name used to be Chuck?
Yeah, his last name used to be Chuck. In 2018, in a Fort Lauderdale airport shooting in 2017 by a guy who complained to the FBI that the CIA was forcing him to watch ISIS videos. Yeah.
Forcing?
The suspect believed to have shot 5 people to death in a rampage at a Florida airport Friday was being treated in Alaska after complaining of hearing voices and had recently claimed to the FBI that the CIA was forcing him to watch ISIS videos, federal officials said.
I feel like being forced to watch ISIS videos is like a funny thing because that sounds like really intense to someone who like doesn't know what that is. But like, if you've actually watched any ISIS videos, you're like, oh, this is literally modeled after Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do that for fun on this
stream. So what I want to jump into next is like a couple of articles that I've had bookmarked for a while. One is an article related to the podcast Bundyville, which is about the 2016-2017 standoff at the Malheur Wildlife Conservancy in Oregon by the Bundy family and a bunch of other sort of like anti-Bureau of Land Management I don't know what you want to call them, patriots, first percenter.
They were like sovereign citizen adjacent.
Sovereign citizen adjacent is a good way to put it. But this is like one aspect of that story that I thought was interesting. In February 2016, 1 month after Lavoy Fennicum was shot by authorities after fleeing the traffic stop in Oregon, the members of Patriots Defense Force met at a Carl's Jr. near Keebler's home. One way this meeting has been viewed was a planning session for the group's next steps, ones that could have potentially led to violence. Put another way entirely, Keebler's defensive attorney framed this as a meeting at a fast food restaurant with 2 FBI agents, one of whom taunted him as a coward and pushed him towards action, and a government informant. According to court documents, at that meeting...
When you're says that, you just got to call him a pussy back, and you kind of like laugh, and everyone knows this, right?
Yeah. Keebler's... So according to court documents, at that meeting, Miller mocked Keebler, saying that the Patriots and PDF were just a group of Facebook fucking Nazis who have a lot to say on the internet but never take action in real life. Keebler, in response, suggested the group do some reconnaissance of potential targets in Salt Lake City. Miller, who, don't forget, was there as an undercover FBI agent, suggested targeting Muslims. According to his attorney, Keebler told Miller he didn't know how to find any. Miller then offered to Google a mosque, and the group drove there in 2 cars. Keebler says that once outside the mosque, agents asked him why he wouldn't bomb it. Keebler, the member of the white separatist Patriots group, claims he pointed to the buildings around it. I said, "I'll tell you why I can't. You see that big-ass building behind you over your left shoulder," he recalls. I said, "That's one reason you can't. You're never getting out of this place. Second, look at the terrain." People were walking around, coming in and outside, started playing basketball, and said, "You see that? Those are kids. There's women and children playing basketball shit. Like, y'all have lost it." So
Wait,
this
who
group,
was saying this? Was this the white separatist guy?
the white separatist guy refused to bomb a place of Muslim worship because of the presence of women and children at it.
Yeah, and like the FBI guy was trying to be like,
Was
"What,
basically
you
calling
two
him a
fucking
pussy
chicken?"
the entire
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
I also just really like the idea of like them finding people who like don't even like hate Muslims enough to know how to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Physically.
Well, I mean, that's like the other thing is that this whole scenario sort of points very like very sort of like obliviously towards sort of like culture war kind of issues, because like Keebler's group's anger was not in reaction to anything done by like Muslims in the West. They were mad because a state's sheriff's department killed a member of the like Patriots movement. So they were basically routing anger from towards the federal government towards like a more like convenient like minority population.
I mean, that's like the amazing thing.
Like
about,
Keebler was upset because Lavoy Finicum was killed by like by like state police.
And I feel like sorry, go ahead.
And they're basically, and literally like an FBI agent is like orienting that anger towards minorities.
Fucking hell, yeah.
I feel like that's like the thing that either indicates like this type of direct involvement, or like more likely a combination of that and just the absolute crushing lack of like any type of political consciousness in.
Oh, it's a combination of the two, I think.
Right? Of course, right. Like more likely a combination of the two, and
Yeah.
really mostly in the environment of the second, because if it wasn't just a predominantly like hellhole of like a country where you fucking can't even tell where to direct your like desire for a better world, then like people wouldn't be susceptible to that.
Yeah, because like
Dimes Square, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
like,
no, we definitely should bomb Dimes Square, but outside of that, like
not Times Square. Times Square has the M&M store.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Toys R Us carousel.
Mm-hmm.
But
and the Army recruiting station.
Yeah, but yeah, it's literally just sort of like there's no sort of like materialist reality in America anymore.
No, none.
It's always been a weak spot for it, but I mean, I feel like we're at like maybe a nadir in like a temporal nadir in like the geographical nadir of like materialist like politics of like world history.
Yeah. Well, I just want to read like a little bit further in this. So the group moved on. The caravan drove past an FBI building and a Bureau of Land Management office. Miller suggested that they send a mail bomb to it or use a truck bomb to blow it up. Keebler again resisted, and the recon mission ended. Around this point, so literally he did not. So like Keebler, I've read like the rest of this article. He's basically just sort of like a fucking like Varg Vikernes style like
I can't believe I bought that guy's chocolate chunk cookies.
He's basically just sort of like a a dude that just like wants to own a farm and like not have to pay property taxes. Is his things.
Which
So like
that's all.
so and so like their whole like approach to like owning firearms and stuff is not any like offensive thing. Like they basically just like don't want to be bothered on the property that they believe they own and shouldn't have to like pay additional monies to the federal government too. Basically, Keebler again resisted and the recon mission ended. Around this point, even Davis, the other undercover agent, was unsure about the tactics he and Miller were using with Keebler, and text messages presented in court by Keebler's defense. Davis wrote to his handler, Steve Daniels, "So I was thinking on the drive home, I hope we didn't open Pandora's box in a way by taking Keebler to a mosque he might not have found on his own. With the case winding down on our own end, I am worried about our liability if he happens to go back sometime on his own." And another message, Davis wrote to Daniels, "I'm all for pushing him, but we can't sound more radical to him." Davis expressed concerns that it seemed to like he and Miller would be leading the recon mission. "To me, that's what it sounds like we are doing," he texted.
Good God.
So I don't want to. I'm not going to belabor like reading through this like whole article. It's on Longreads. Look up Bundyville. But basically, they end up sort of like deciding to bomb an unoccupied Bureau of Land Management building outside of Salt Lake City. One of the FBI operatives builds the bomb for them. And
Holy shit.
Then like as soon as they plant it and plan to detonate it, like the feds come out of the bushes and Keebler and his boys get arrested. So now I want to.
They're just playing fucking Calvin ball when they're actually building the bombs for them.
Yeah, but so now I want to lead into this equally depressing article from CNN titled "How." I feel like nobody reads like articles like on like news websites anymore, which is like how this shit gets disseminated. This is literally called "How a Suicidal Pizza Man Found Himself Ensnared in an FBI Terrorist Sting," and this is like one of like the saddest articles that I've ever read. Every day,
this one.
I've mentioned it to you before.
I think you might have to me.
Every day was the same for Khalil Abu Rayyan, 21, a depressed pizza delivery man from Dearborn Heights, Michigan. Working for a pizzeria in Detroit, he'd drive late on desolate inner city streets, smoking pot, hoping to keep boredom at bay. He carried a pistol to protect himself from robbers. Rayyan wished he could meet a girl, but his strict Muslim parents didn't allow him to date. He'd been troubled since the age of 12. When he was sent into counseling after telling his teacher he had a nightmare about bringing a gun to school and killing everyone in class. Tormented by bullies, he later got into fights that led to at least 3 suspensions. When he was 17, he started using marijuana. Now,
gateway drug.
High school was over, and Rayyan had a stable job at his dad's pizza shop, but he still felt lonely, bitter, and powerless, consumed with revenge fantasies. When he got home from work and logged onto his computer, he sought out shocking content on the darkest reaches of the internet. This is literally like somebody who would be in our Discord.
This is me. Yeah.
He began watching.
This is the bad ending where you find the FBI instead of mother-based.
He began watching ISIS videos in 2014. He posted images of the terror group's atrocities on social media, a gruesome montage that included the beheadings. This is all. If you want to see any of this, log on to Tor and try to find our lost episode.
If you want to see any of this, go to theync.com right now on the ClearNet. This is not deep web shit.
Yeah,
that's true.
Ryan felt insecure about the weightlifters at the gym, but online he portrayed himself as a menacing Islamist warrior. In one picture, he's cloaked in camouflage, holding a pistol and pointing his index finger skyward. It's a gesture that signals support for ISIS that is questionable. It's a gesture that put the pizza man on the FBI's radar, according to a CNN review of ISIS prosecutions in the U.S. Late one autumn day in 2015, Rayyan was at his lowest. He'd been pulled over by Detroit police for speeding and was arrested after the police found a concealed revolver, 4 plastic bags of marijuana, and sleeping pills in his 2001 Buick Century. Terrible car.
When was this?
2015.
Damn, brutal.
Ryan was released on bond, but things looked bleak, with a seemingly endless series of court appearances on the
This is the
horizon.
reward you get for buying American.
Chronic gloom gave way to suicidal thoughts. He tried to purchase a new pistol, rented an AK-47 rifle as well as an AR-15 style rifle. When I move down here, first Gada, then Jana. About a week after Ryan posted the picture of the rifle, a woman named Gada contacted him on Twitter. She described herself as a Pakistani girl in Cleveland whose parents were pressuring her into an arranged marriage. Within days, Ryan and Gada were making wedding plans, even though they had yet to meet in person. She was Ryan's first girlfriend. While I was driving, I started to cry because of how happy I am to have you, Ryan wrote.
Oh God.
Don't cry, my love. Please, Gada replied. It's tears of joy, wallahi. I never felt this way before. I wish I could give you a great big hug. You have no idea. I could jump through this phone right now. I need
this guy
you.
Sounds like a violent psychopath.
You have me from our first tweet. Ryan told Gada that he and his father planned to visit her in Cleveland so they could plan the wedding, and suddenly Gada was gone. She stopped replying to his messages. She disappeared completely, and Ryan didn't know why. 2 days after Gada vanished, Ryan got a message from a young woman named Jana. She said she was a 19-year-old Sunni Muslim. Unlike Gada, Jana expressed no interest in a conventional romantic relationship. She said she wanted to martyr herself for ISIS, an act of vengeance against the coalition troops and Shia militants in Syria and Iraq who had killed her husband and 2 of her cousins. It's like I knew you all my life, wrote Ryan. I will ask you to marry me, but not now. Please don't rush me, wrote Jana. I'm depressed and very scared. Jana said she dreamed of committing a suicide attack with Ryan as an expression of undying love. I'm not crazy, Khalil, Jana wrote. It's my imam. It's what I believe in. Jihad is my dream. Honestly, you need to think about what you want, Ryan replied. I can't be in this game. So he's backing out of it.
But you don't get it. He's got a name and it sounds kind of Muslim.
Yeah, it sounds like Ryan, but there's like too many A's and Y's. Ryan wasn't that into the idea of a violent jihad as an expression of spiritual love. He repeatedly told Jana that she should rethink her plans and marry him instead. They could be happy. They could start a family. Don't do anything that will hurt yourself or other people, Ryan wrote. He later added, depression is real, but don't let it run your life.
Wow, this guy sounds like grade A terrorist.
Yeah, as Ryan tried to convince...
He sounds like a grade A cuck, honestly.
As Ryan tried to convince Jana that martyrdom was a foolish choice, he confessed to her that he had struggled with violent thoughts himself. He said he wanted to kill the cop who had pulled him over for speeding. He claimed, falsely, that there was a sword in his car. He blustered that he once had contemplated shooting up a church near his pizza shop, and he didn't intend to spare the women and children. It's one of the biggest churches in Detroit, Ryan wrote. I had planned it out. I bought a bunch of bullets. I practiced a lot with a gun.
Trump quote. It's one of the biggest churches in Detroit. I planned it out. I bought a bunch of bullets.
I practiced reloading and unloading, but my dad searched my car one day and he found everything. He found the gun, the bullets, and a mask I was going to wear. It wouldn't be a bloodbath, but everything happens for a reason. I don't know what the future leads. Maybe down the line I can try again. Weeks of desperate messages to Jana culminated with a foreboding phone conversation. Ryan told her he had purchased a rope to hang himself. Only in like a minute or two. It'll be over, said Ryan. My family is going to be sad for a little while, but they'll get over it. Jana responded that the only proper way for Muslims to kill themselves is in an act of violent jihad. Like I told you before, when it's for the sake of Allah, when it's jihad, or when it's based, or in our creed, or for a cause, that's the only time Allah allows it, said Jana. But not to put your life to waste. You just hang yourself like you say you want to do. That's not the right thing to do. Later in conversation, Ryan said he did not want to hurt anybody else. He was interested in taking only his own life. If I did it to myself, it would be easier, said Ryan. I would get in trouble. I'm not trying to get arrested again. So
so there's all this stuff, but I mean, like, look at the average shooter, right? I mean, they're all right. Like, I mean, what's their racial ethnicity, right? I mean, this like they're all like, I mean, think about like
whitey boys.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I guess like wasn't the like Uvalde guy like Latino?
He was.
Sorry,
Um,
yeah, like
Latinx.
There's a difference
Latinx.
between the being Latin doesn't mean that you're Muslim, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah, yeah. I just like.
In fact, it's rather uncommon, I believe.
I mean,
It's just like,
this is like this article kind of like points to like the sort of like commonality between like a lot of like laws that have been made in reaction to like paler people committing like public acts of mass violence, where they're basically just sort of used to generally like unfairly kind of like prosecute people of color.
I think you sent this to me long before we did Mother Base, but like, um, this article depressed the shit out of me and like made me like, it just like was so unbelievably depressing because it's like so personal or whatever. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
Like this
literally
guy,
like it's literally like weaponizing depression and
so fucking
like using it like against people to like literally make them like kill other people. Because like this guy like literally just like not want to hurt anybody besides himself.
Yeah.
And like let me just like read through this like last section
sorry,
because this is like where it actually becomes like fully 2 days after the call, Ryan got an unexpected visit. Federal agents arrested him for possession of a firearm by an unlawful use of a controlled substance. Ryan didn't have a new pistol. He didn't have any guns. The firearm in question was a revolver that Detroit police had confiscated months earlier during the traffic stop. Jana, the woman who encouraged Ryan to kill innocent people for Allah, was an undercover FBI employee. Ryan's first love, Gada, was also a fictitious persona. In a court filing, prosecutors declined to reveal what agency or department may or may not have employed the individual who pretended to be Gada. The government had engineered the romantic intrigue to bust Ryan for ISIS support. The FBI spent nearly a year investigating him. Despite the investment of time and resources, the sting failed to yield any terrorism charges. Ryan could have been prosecuted for making a true threat, based on his comments to John about shooting up the church and killing the traffic cop, but ultimately he was indicted solely for 2 gun offenses: firearm possession by a drug user and lying about his drug use to buy a pistol. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced last April to 5 years in prison, a sentence almost 3 times longer than the advisory range for his offenses. The 33-page memorandum opinion centered on Ryan's messages to Jannah, with the judge stating that concerns about public safety warranted a longer sentence. While it is true that Ryan begged the UCE undercover employee not to hurt herself, he also discussed with her his plan to shoot up a church and assassinate a police officer, the judge wrote. As the government aptly points out, Ryan may claim he made the disturbing statements merely to impress the undercover employee, but anyone who has been victimized by a terrorist attack would find his ideas far from impressive. Ryan's public defenders are fighting the sentence in the 6th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals. Their most recent filing was a reply brief on November 8th. The government has yet to respond. Beyond vague representations of a desire to commit a terrorist act made almost exclusively to an undercover agent posing as a love interest, Ryan never took any action that could remotely be considered an initial step toward the planning of an attack. His attorneys wrote in the appellant brief.
Right, like I say that sort of stuff all the time, right? Like I feel like just saying that sort of thing isn't so, who cares, right?
No, it's this I'm legitimately depressed that you brought this article up again, because this is one of the saddest things I've ever read, and it's making me feel like shit again, which it should, because we live in a hellhole. God, it's so fucked up.
So I don't want to like take the overt position that like the shooter in like in Buffalo or Uvalde are like overtly like fed pilled the way that Ryan was, or the way that Bill Keebler was, but it definitely sort of seems like if you like take both of these articles as like examples, it sort of seems like at the very least, like the federal government has a vested interest in enabling violent public crimes to happen because it continues to enable like a law and order type government to persist, despite how inadequate the response by that law and order government is to those crimes.
I mean, I don't know. Like, surely, I don't know. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's my first reading of like the cops sitting outside is like, man, damn, like it's almost like they were like ordered to sit outside or whatever. You know? I mean, I don't know. It's like, not that it. I mean, it's tough to say because cops are like useless cowards. And all that, and they don't necessarily coordinate with the FBI. The FBI, I'm sure, thinks that their like job of inciting domestic terrorism is more important than it is too important for them to have to like consult with like local police agencies. But I don't know.
I also do think that when thinking about these things, you know, I think this is a good episode to bring this up because while I certainly don't deny that, like, yes, feds
all that is possible.
Yeah, feds do have this interest very clearly. You know, people are just very delusioned, and also, we have people like Miya, Krishna, Charlotte, who have like this overt stated interest in causing instability to like accelerate chaos in whatever way. So, you know, people get groomed into doing shit. Sometimes it is not eating until your daddy dom tells you you can, and sometimes it is shooting up places.
No, I mean, I think it's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. One thing I was enjoying about like War and Peace is like he has this like very anti like great man like kind of theory of history that he like pushes really hard, like to the point of going on like 3-hour like autistic rants about it, where he's just like, and in fact Napoleon like could not have like done things any other way because this was the direction things were going. And it's like kind of very fun to like read an account like that because it like feels very relevant, where it's like the point isn't any specific like individualistic theory about what happened with any of these guys. It's like something more about like the total political vacuum in which you can like be dissatisfied enough to be a shooter for like whatever specific proximal cause there was. And it never comes out as people taking their energy out on like trying to change something in any politically motivated way. It's always shooting up like a place where there's a bunch of the most innocent possible people, which is like the most black-pilled.
Unless you're fucking Dorner, right? Like we do have the Dorners of the world.
There are exceptions, but like, I mean, I don't know. I just like think about like none of these people are revolutionaries, right? They're all like nihilists. Which is amazing to be like that unhappy and to feel. Imagine being that unhappy and feeling so convinced that there's nothing you can do, that you just do something which it's impossible to read as anything but nihilism, right? I mean,
let's go back to Charlotte and Miya here. And so one thing I do think about in this context is I do think Charlotte was the only interesting person, but I think in Angelicism, aka Jaunty, was also unique in that he is not like a noted retard Justin Murphy, where he is trying to justify everything after the fact, like trying to justify why he bought one of these things. Angelicism, if nothing else, is overt, just like, yes, I also want destabilization. Charlotte is doing this, therefore I like Charlotte, right? So it doesn't always have to be, it just can be whatever. It can be your scary internet performance art that you're doing because you are a predator, right? I don't know. There's a lot. It's a bad world.
I feel like the best possible place that I want to leave this episode on.
Don't get us banned again. I see another video coming up.
Is well, I feel like the sort of like the best sort of like teleological unification of Top Gun Maverick and Remelia and the school shooter phenomenon, is I want to play this like last scene
Yes.
from the always based and I don't even know what pill Paul Schrader pilled. He's on his own pill.
Paul Schrader's on his own pill.
Give him his own fucking pill. I just wanted to play like the sequence from the end of Mishima where Yukio Mishima gets to ride in a like a probably like an F-14 or something like that, like towards the end of his life.
The only cool thing you can say about Paul or about
Body and
America,
spirit had never blended.
they keep getting Paul
Never
Schrader
in physical action had I discovered the chilling satisfaction of words. Never in words had I experienced the hot darkness of action. Somewhere there must be a higher principle which reconciles art and action. That principle, it occurred to me, was death. The vast upper atmosphere where there is no oxygen is surrounded with death. To survive in this atmosphere, man, like an actor, must wear a mask. Flying at 45,000 feet, the silver phallus of the fuselage floated in sunlight.
Based.
My
Mishima
mind
sure
was
did
at
love
ease.
phalluses.
My
He
thought
sure did.
process lively. No movement, no sound, no memories. The closed cockpit and outer space were like the spirit and body of the same being. Here I saw the outcome of my final action. In this stillness was a beauty beyond words. No more body or spirit, pen or sword, male or female. Then I saw a giant circle coiled around the earth, a ring that resolved all contradictions, a ring vaster than death, more fragrant than any scent I had ever known. Here was the moment I had always been seeking.
Yeah, that's it. I just
That
wanted to watch
was-
like that one
That was
scene.
pretty cool. Besides you undermining it by calling a P80 an F-14. Other than that, that was fine.
I literally did that to piss you off.
Yeah, you mad, bro?
I am mad. Yeah, you're just like those FBI guys. You'd be like those FBI guys if you were like, if I was like, man, you shouldn't have called that a P80, and you could have been like, oh, I'm sorry, a Muslim told me that's what that was called.
Oh, I'm sorry. A person who lives in Lower Manhattan but is not of Chinese descent told me that.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's a good ending point.
Yeah. I don't know
thank
what
you
we're gonna
guys.
do next week, but yeah, thanks for joining Mother Base. I think we saw
Yeah.
3 viewers.
Well, we'll probably have another another shooting to discuss next week.
Yeah,
so.
I'm going to take a break from driving myself crazy, for this podcast specifically, this stream, whatever this is.
Oh.
Yep.
Damn. You said the P word.
Yeah, sorry.
Right. That's okay. All right.
Pedophile.
That would be better.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone.
Yep.
This has been another successful episode of Mother Based.
Yeah.
So if you feel, just a little bit more psychotic.
Yep. That's what we want.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye.
Right.